Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sunday Francis Mutego, Mayor Kassanda Town Council.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Daphne Babirie from the IMF. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. Bidabwa Judith, Town Clerk, Kassanda Town Council.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Fiona Kayondo. I work for Touch the Heart Uganda and a member of Tax Justice Alliance.
Good morning. I'm Ronat Sime from the J. Mello Foundation. We are also a member of Tax Justice Alliance Uganda.
Good morning to you all. I'm called Ronald Nyenje Makumbi from Uganda Revenue Authority. I'm manager in charge of tax expenditures, a new unit, a new function, just to help us manage tax expenditures well in the country. Thank you.
I think the sound was a bit unfair to some of us. I don't know whether you're even hearing me. So those who have spoken before me, I did not pick their names. So I would suggest that the volume be increased. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, sir.
All right. My name is Dr. Henry Bazira, and I work with the Water Governance Institute, and also the Executive Director of Water Governance Institute.
Good morning. Richard Obedi, my name. I work with the Populist Foundation International, member of the Tax Justice Alliance Uganda. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dennis Ndaula Chiseka. I'm from Mityana municipality, and I'm the Secretary, Finance, Planning and Administration.
Good morning, members. My name's Anaga Maxensia, Senior Assistant Town Clerk of Simbi Division, Mityana Municipal Council.
Good morning. I'm Namwe Susan. I coordinate Uganda Parliamentary Forum for Children. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kodwimana Janine. I'm the project officer at EAC. I'm representing my boss in Asimu, who's a member of Tax Alliance Uganda.
Good morning. I'm Isaac Tenyo from Baba TV. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Phillips Lodomoy, the Principal Township Officer, Nakapiripirit Town Council.
Good morning. I'm Apollo Nanyima. I'm the Revenue Officer for Nakapiripirit Town Council.
Good morning. My name is Kola Mundur from Uplift.
Good morning. My name is Namaganda Jane from Uplift Parliament.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nisi Marona from UDN.
Good morning. My name is Thomas Oming. I'm the Principal Treasurer and Head of Finance for Apac Municipal Council.
Morning, everyone. David Odiambo, Deputy Town Clerk, Apac Municipal Council.
This morning, I'm Patrick Ongom, the Mayor of Apac Municipal Council.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Asimwe Francis Musoke. I'm from the Urban Authorities Association of Uganda. It's an association for all cities, municipalities, town councils, and all their divisions. I think these are my members. I'm glad to be here.
Good morning. I am Harriza Alan. I work with Youth for Tax Justice Network. Glad to be here.
Good morning. My name is Otama Dafi Nalesi. I'm a lawyer, work with Parliament of Uganda. I'm attached to the Committee of Finance.
Good morning. My name is Naiga Penina. I work with Uganda Debt Network.
Good morning. Juliet Akelo is my name. I work with the Uganda National NGO Forum. Thank you.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mohammed Ismail, popularly known as Odare, Mayor Moroto Municipality. Thank you.
Morning, participants. Emmanuel Okaja is my name, Town Clerk, Kotido.
And I'm Jen Logel, Assistant Town Clerk, Kotido Municipal Council.
A very good morning to all of us. Gideon Longolia, my name's. I am a Senior Assistant Town Clerk in Moroto Municipal Council. I'm here for the Town Clerk.
Eric Lomongin is my name. I'm the Senior Treasurer in Apac Town Council. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Chekojon Bosco, Town Clerk, Napak Town Council.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lochoro Jacob, Town Council Mayor on Apac Town Council. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Choksha Rachel, Digital Marketing.
Good morning. I'm Geno Eric. I'm doing digital with SEATINI.
Morning, everyone. I'm called Namanya Renda, digital marketer.
Good morning. I'm Jaliat Namoye. I work with Bukede Paper.
Good morning. My name is Obed Atwaire, a consultant.
I'm here. I work with SEATINI.
Morning, everyone. I'm Aloysius Chitengo. I work for SEATINI Uganda.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Aga and Aloki Economic Development.
Good morning. My name is Sharon, and I work with SEATINI Uganda.
There's a gentleman who joined us as the introductions were going on. A little bit behind you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Emmanuel Chingwa from Ministry of Local Government.
And then there is another one at the back.
Good morning. My name is Ismail Ladu, Nation Media Group.
All right, thank you so much, dear participants, for introducing yourself. Now, it's clear we know who is in this room, and it's interesting to see that there are some key stakeholders from local governments who have been able to join this meeting. And this meeting is very important specifically for you people and the country at large, given the importance of what is going to be discussed today. And SEATINI Uganda has taken the lead in many aspects. Not so long ago, you've been hearing them talking about issues of standards. They've been running a project on issues of maize standards across the country. We have had them specifically on issues to do with the trade. They have really carried the torch, and I think we need to applaud them for that dedicated service to our country. Can you just give them a round of applause? And on our program, we have a number of issues to be handled today. If you check the booklet that has been distributed on your table, but there's also a program. Yeah, you can see there are key people we are supposed to hear from during this meeting. We'll be having the opening and welcome remarks from the Executive Director of SEATINI Uganda. We have comments from the Diplomatic Corps. We'll have a keynote address from the Permanent Secretary, Secretary to the Treasury, or their representative. We have also presentations from key stakeholders who are here. We'll hear from Uganda Revenue Authority. We'll also have a panel of discussion to be able to dig deeper onto the issues that we are supposed to discuss today. I've been emphasizing the importance of this particular meeting because of the challenges that the country is facing, not only Uganda, but the globe at large. As you can see, our development partners, they are now doing what they call inward looking, holding their resources closer to the challenges that they are facing. And therefore, it's very important for our country to try and promote our own sources of revenue to be able to support the different programs that the government is putting in place. But also, it gives us the moral authority as Ugandans to demand for quality services if indeed we pay our taxes, our fair share of taxes, because of what is called the social contract between the taxpayer and the government. May I take this opportunity now to invite the Executive Director from SEATINI Uganda, Ms. Jen Nalunga, to begin by giving us her welcome remarks and giving us the context of this meeting, and also sharing with us the objectives of this particular project, STRIDE, which is being launched today. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes to the podium to speak to us.
Thank you so much, Anderson, for giving me the mic. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Maybe first of all, I'm not very good at protocol, but I would like to recognize the distinguished representatives from ministries, departments and agencies. We have representatives from Ministry of Finance, representatives from Ministry of Local Government, and I think we have a representative Ministry of Trade. We have representatives from Uganda Revenue Authority. So we have those distinguished representatives. And I would like to recognize their presence. I also like to recognize the presence of a representative from the embassy of the Ireland Embassy in Uganda, who is here. I also like to recognize the technical and non-technical staff and policy makers from the town councils and municipalities where we are going to implement this project. I know I'll be reading out the project areas. I know most of you have traveled from far. Maybe I can read them out here. The project areas. There are 5 municipalities of Apac. See, 5 municipalities of Apac, Bushenyi, Ishaka, Kotido, Mityana, Moroto, and then the 5 town councils of Isingiro, Nakapiripirit, Napak, Nakasongola, and Kassanda. Let us clap for the representatives from these town councils and municipalities, because they have really traveled from far. So thank you so much for being here. This project, I want to say something about this project. This project, we are implementing it with support from the Government of Ireland International Development Program, represented by the Embassy of Ireland in Uganda. It's called Sustaining Tax and Revenue Improvement for Development in Uganda. And as I have mentioned, we are going to work in 5 municipalities and 5 town councils. When we are discussing the areas we are going to work in, we looked at those areas which are really, needy, which are even difficult to reach. And we thought that's where we want to make the greatest impact. The objective of this project is to promote a fair, inclusive, and socially sustainable revenue mobilization, allocation, and accountability, to improve livelihoods and access to social services, especially for vulnerable groups such as rural women, the youth, persons with disability, and people living with HIV. So our project, we are looking to ensure that there is increased access to social services, but also improve the livelihoods. We want people live in a happy life. Ensure that people are accessing education, accessing health services, accessing water, and there is infrastructure. So that's the purpose of this project. And we are using 2 approaches to be able to achieve this objective. One approach is we are going to strengthen the capacity of citizens as taxpayers to have a say, to be on the table, how resources are allocated, mobilized, allocated, and utilized, and also to ensure that they demand for accountability. We are going to employ a social contract approach. A social contract approach looks at the citizens as rights holders. Then they look at the duty bearers, and both of them have rights and obligations. And we emphasize that a lot, the rights and obligations. We are all citizens. We have rights and obligations. We have a right, for example, to demand for accountability. Where is our money? How have you used our money? But we also have an obligation to pay the taxes. So we are balancing those rights and obligations. We are also looking at the rights and obligations of the duty bearers as policy makers, as tax people, as town clerks, as mayors. You have rights and obligations. You have a right to ask citizens we collected. So we ensure that rights and balancing those rights and obligations. And we believe that if we do that, there is ownership. We have seen a distancing between citizens and the duty bearers, saying, it's their money, let them do what they want. So we want a closer relationship between citizens and the duty bearers. We need that ownership because this is our country and we have to develop it. Another approach is to work with technical, non-technical staff, policymakers at national level, but also in those municipalities and town councils to strengthen the systems. We have visited, I think, all the town councils and municipalities, and we are going to hear from the people who took some notes, who did some research. What are those gaps? There are a lot of gaps when it comes to systems of how you collect taxes. Systems are very, very important. You know, if you want to collect taxes, there has to be a system. So we want to strengthen those systems, the revenue management and accountability systems for improved efficiency in tax administration. We are going to work with the Ministry of Trade, you know. SEATINI, we do work a lot on trade to ensure that people have an income. A happy pocket is a happy person, isn't it? You know, so we are also talking about broadening the tax base, you know, because we have been talking to some of you people having, you know, exchanges, and I've been saying, you know, where are we going to tax? You know, people are poor, people don't have money. So we are going also to look at broadening the tax base. We don't want to deepen, you know, that those people who have the money are the ones paying the VAT, paying whatever. We want to broaden the tax base. And that means we have also to talk about the incomes, you know, the economy, how is it working, you know, at national and also in the towns and municipalities. For us, that's also really important, you know, that people have an income and they are paying their taxes willingly. This project has provided us with an opportunity to strengthen our working relationship and our collaboration with a number of partners who have been working with, and also with the ministries and agencies. We are going to work more and more closely with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Local Government. When you look at our brochure, all these ministries are put there. Ministry of Local Government, the Local Government Finance Commission, the Uganda Revenue Authority, members of Parliament, and in the municipalities and town councils, we are going again to look at those government agencies in those local governments, but we are also going to look at the policy makers. The policy makers, sometimes at district level, municipality councils, there is a distance between policy makers and the technocrats. You know, policy makers can say, don't pay those taxes. Maybe sometimes they are looking for votes, but we need to bring them together so that when you are planning for your town council, you are planning for your municipality, you are all moving in the same direction. So we are going to work with a cross-section of people to ensure that this project is a success. We are going to strengthen our work with the Tax Justice Alliance. We have this vibrant alliance, and I know even in the town councils we are going to work in, and municipalities, to help us to strengthen our Tax Justice Alliance. This project is coming at an opportune time. There is no better time than this time to implement this project. Why? All of us know that support from outside is going down, isn't it? USAID, you know, and also other donor agencies. Aid is going down, and it will go down as countries look inwards to address their own problems. So that's one reason why we need to generate our own resources internally. But we are also indebted. Our country is indebted. We are in debts, you know. So again, that's another reason to generate our own resources. The population, our population is growing very, very fast. Very fast. And if you have more people, they will need more more services, more schools, more hospitals, more infrastructure. So we need to generate resources. And there are new town councils, new municipalities, which need to strengthen their systems. So all these reasons point to the fact that we need to generate our own resources. You know, we need to strengthen our systems to ensure that we are efficient in our tax administration. We have to broaden our tax base, but also we need to ensure that we account to the people we work with. I want to appreciate the Embassy of Ireland in Uganda. The embassy has done wonders for us beyond the financial resources, even the planning, thinking through the project, what needs to be done, that backup support. We are really grateful for that support. I would like to appreciate the Ministry of Finance, URA, Ministry of Local Government. These are ministries, a Ministry of Trade. These are ministries which we have been working with for a long time. You know, their support is invaluable because at the end of the day, as civil society, we need to recognize that we support government to do its work. And we have had that cordial relationship, and we are looking forward to strengthening that relationship so that we successfully implement this project. I also like to thank the town councils, the leadership in the town councils and municipalities. We are implementing this project. Our team has been there in those town councils, and we have really had a very cordial relationship. I have had a one-to-one discussion. I have been to Kassanda, one-to-one discussion, and you could see that openness. I have talked to Mr. Mitego. We had a very nice discussion. And what I'm appealing to you for is a feedback, because you are the one sitting in that hot seat. There is no money. There are things to be done. We are coming in with a project, but you know where the shoe pinches. So you need to tell us that, by the way, what about this? Why don't we work on that? You know, so we are expecting that from you. This project is not cast in stone, that for us, this is what we are going to do. No, this project is your project, because at the end of the day, we want to see that this municipality, this town council has moved from this level to that level. There are systems working, there are platforms created where you meet the citizens, you know, so it's your project. So please tell us, you know, that this is where we want you to address. We also want to look at those specific peculiar challenges facing each town council, because you are different, you know. So even our implementation has to be different in the different town councils and municipalities. I think I have said enough, but I want to thank all of you, our partners, and to promise you that we are going to make a difference in your town councils, in your municipalities, so that by the time we leave, there are visible changes. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming, and we are looking forward to a fruitful deliberation here, but also a fruitful implementation of this project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Jane Nalunga, Executive Director, SEATINI Uganda. She has helped us to understand what this project is about and the importance we need to attach to it as we continue looking for resources to develop this country. We are going to adjust our program a little bit and bring in some key stakeholders to make their remarks at this particular moment. May I invite a representative from the Ministry of Local Government, if they are in the house, to come and say a word or two about this project, but also share with us their feedback on this particular project. A representative from the Ministry of Local Government. If that representative is not yet in the room, we can hear from the representative of the Local Government Finance Commission, if they can kindly step forward and share their perspective on this project. Anyone from the Commission or the Ministry of Local Government? All right, maybe let's invite the representative of the Commissioner General, Uganda Revenue Authority, to step forward and give us his comments. Let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Thank you so much. The Director, SEATINI, the Government of Ireland that are supporting the project, local government authorities and others, protocol observed. I want to take this opportunity to thank you, SEATINI, for the invitation that we got for this important launch. As a country, reliance on external financing is no longer sustainable. Conditionalities are tighter for external funding, and some development partners are taking decisions to stop financing our growth and development. So as a country, we are looking at mobilizing our resources, and I want to say that Uganda Revenue Authority is one of the key players in this process. So it's important that we strengthen our DRM initiatives if we are to fully fund our growth and development. I must say that it's a process, and we must be intentional and also be patient with it. At Uganda Revenue Authority, we are developing strategies to ensure that we have 20% of the tax to GDP ratio by 2030. This is the only way to make Uganda economically independent. So we are looking at expanding the tax base. That's a priority. We are also looking at total transformation within Uganda Revenue Authority. Currently, we're in the process of getting more staff to ensure that we are able to reach all the corners of the country. We are saying that all the sectors are critical. We are saying that all the revenue lines are critical. We are saying that all the taxpayers are very important in this process. So we must make sure that we bring them into our tax system. There are some other initiatives that we are taking. Digital transformation is one of them. We are looking at process reengineering within the organization. Tax education is now a priority. And I want to say that we welcome all the initiatives to support the ecosystem that we are working in. URA is not working in isolation. We are working with other stakeholders, and this is something that is very important. So this launch and this project to us is something that is so critical, something that is very important. We have to make sure that we work with the local authorities if we are to really achieve our goal of the 20% by the 2030 year. As Uganda Revenue Authority, we welcome the project, and I must say that we are ready to support it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative of Commissioner General. It's a pleasure hearing from you and your commitment to support this initiative that is being put in place. Let me recognize the presence of some officials from government who are already with us here. Ms. Babiri Defin, she's an economist from IMF. Thank you so much for attending this meeting. If you can kindly stand up for recognition. Thank you so much. Also, we have Mr. Kimboa Emmanuel, who is from the Ministry of Local Government, Assistant Commissioner. Thank you so much for joining us. Also, here we have Mr. Ronald Nyenje Makumbi. He's a manager from Uganda Revenue Authority. Please, if you can stand up for recognition. Thank you so much. Also in the room, we have Ms. Ruth Kashaga. She's from the Ministry of Local Government. She is attending this meeting. Thank you so much for being here with us. Now that we know those ministries are represented, may I call upon the Minister of Local Government, a representative, to step forward and share with us their comments. Thank you so much. A round of applause.
A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I take the opportunity to thank SEATINI for organizing this very important meeting. As Minister of Local Government, we are so grateful because the project is going to be implemented in local governments. And as a ministry, as you may be aware, we developed the own source revenue strategy running from 2024-25 to 2027-28. And why we developed that own source revenue strategy, as the director SEATINI has mentioned, we are cognizant of the fact that the transfers to local governments are dwindling. But also we are aware external support is also going down. Therefore, the only way to survive is to have own source revenues in our local governments. And that's why we came up with that strategy. So STRIDE is helping us to achieve our objective. And we thank you so much, SEATINI and the Embassy of Ireland, for coming up with this very important project. In my culture, when we are thanking people, we clap. But maybe it could be different in other cultures. So we are so grateful, and we are here, and fully, as has been mentioned by the director, to support. We shall work together to ensure that STRIDE is effectively implemented in these local governments. The few, because we are in 176, so the few that are here, maybe we shall pick lessons from these few, and possibly use that knowledge to roll out to other local governments. But we are so focused on mobilizing own source revenue, mindful of the fact that the 3% currently, 3 to 5% currently collected from our local governments is just so meager to support service delivery in the respective local governments. With those few remarks, I thank you so much, and we are ready to listen in and pick key lessons from this very important meeting. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chimboa Emmanuel, Assistant Commissioner from the Ministry of Local Government. That marks our first segment of the opening period. We are now going to break off for a cup of tea, but before we do that, I would like to invite you all to step forward here so that we can have a group photo and then break off for tea. Tea will be for around 15 minutes because we are running out of time. Then after that, we'll resume and hear from other key stakeholders. So kindly, please do step forward for a group photograph before we break off for tea. Thank you so much. And please, the camera people, please do help us in arranging this so that we can have it done smoothly. Kindly, if you can move forward at the stairs. Camera people, you let us know when you're done. All right. So you are all invited for breakfast. Please do enjoy. And like I stated, let's reassemble within the 15 minutes so that we can continue with the discussion on this very important project. Thank you so much.
In an era of declining global aid and mounting external debt, the key to sustainable development lies within our own borders. The future of public service delivery and national progress depends not only on external support, but on what is fairly and equitably raised through domestic resources. For millions across the country, taxation is more than a financial obligation. It is a vital investment in the much-needed social services such as health, education, infrastructure, among others. With support from the Embassy of Ireland, SEATINI Uganda is implementing the STRIDE project, sustaining tax and revenue improvements for development. STRIDE champions tax justice, accountability, and inclusive revenue systems.
SEATINI is implementing a project called STRIDE. STRIDE is sustaining tax and revenue improvements for development, and it's supported by the Embassy of Ireland in Uganda. This project is really timely, given the current realities and circumstances in Uganda, but also even within the region. We see countries facing a lot of challenges, challenges of indebtedness, challenges of reducing aid, but also challenges of increasing population and an increasing need for social services. So there is an urgent need to enhance domestic resource mobilization, especially at local government level, to ensure that local governments can be able to provide social services like health, education, water, and also to provide the much needed infrastructure.
Community engagements are a key component of the STRIDE project, where taxpayers are given the opportunity to have their voices heard by those tasked with spending taxes on their behalf.
When citizens are actively involved in the entire revenue process, there will be happy taxpayers. In fact, this is what we are looking for, to have happy taxpayers and also happy tax collectors. And I know we can be able to do it.
We have installed street lights in the two divisions. We started with Ishaka, and last year we installed in the central here. And people, if you can go there in the evening, their life has improved. We have chased away darkness, and people are doing their business with ease.
They are happy with us that we are doing good service delivery. If someone pays a tax and he wants, let's say, a medicine from the health center, and he or she finds it there, he's happy that his or her tax is doing well.
We are going to strengthen the social contract between, on one hand, the citizens as taxpayers, and on the other hand, the revenue administrators and duty bearers. We want to ensure that citizens have a say in how resources are mobilized, how they are allocated, and how they are utilized.
Domestic revenue mobilization not only provides governments with funds needed to invest in development, alleviate poverty, and deliver public services, but is also a critical step on the path of aid dependence to sustainable development financing.
Our local revenue has been of help. We have improved on service delivery, like we have constructed the market shed. We have also constructed the bus park shed, and we have bought other pieces of land for the landfill, the bus park, and the mama grounds using the local revenue. We also intend within this very financial year to purchase more garbage bins.
Thanking Council for giving us a contractor who's doing the work of cleaning. Though it is not up to the best, there's some loopholes that he should see that he works on such that he can treat can clean the market well.
This project is going to provide us with a great opportunity to strengthen our collaboration with a number of ministries, departments, and agencies. For example, we are going to work closely with the Ministry of Finance, with the Ministry of Trade. We are going to work with the URA We're also going to work with the Local Government Finance Commission. We're also going to work with a number of associations at both national and local level. We are going to work closely with the Tax Justice Alliance, which is at national level, but also across the country. And we're also going to work with a number of development partners. So we are going to work with a cross-section of MDAs and also other stakeholders.
The challenges that we face in revenue collection, we have a very literate community, business community, that does not know the use and the importance of revenue or paying tax. There is vast land and there is much transaction of land, which attracts land fees. But this could have been an opportunity where we are able to get some revenue. However, the political influence usually interferes, and where they come with some policies from their council, and that bar us from reaching some areas like collecting the land fees, and yet there's rapid land transactions or land trade. This project can be able to help us strengthen some policies that we can be able to reach out and be able to collect some percentage, the 10% that we are supposed to collect from land fees.
Property evaluation role is very key in revenue collection. So if we can be provided with one and train taxpayers on how to use the schedule, even the town agents, in fact, the technical team, if they can be provided the training on how to use the property evaluation role, local revenue may be enhanced.
Another approach we are going to use is to strengthen the capacity of the technical staff, non-technical staff, and policymakers to be able to understand and appreciate the policies which needs to be implemented in order to collect the taxes, and also to strengthen the systems in the town councils and the municipalities. In a number of these town councils and municipalities, the revenue mobilization systems are still a little bit weak. So we want to strengthen those systems.
With this support from SEATINI, I think we are destined to improve this local revenue performance. We shall be in position to provide accountability and make the community accept or take this revenue collection as a very important initiative.
Across Uganda, Stride is proving that with voice comes power, and with accountability comes progress. The journey to equitable taxation is not just about policy, it is about people, it is about fairness, it is about Uganda.
This project, we believe, is going to really contribute to enhancing the capacity of government to be able to fund its own development sustainably and equitably.
In an era of declining global aid and mounting external debt, the key to sustainable development lies within our own borders. The future of public service delivery and national progress depends not only on external support, but on what is fairly and equitably raised through domestic resources. For millions across the country, taxation is more than a financial obligation. It is a vital investment in the much-needed social services such as health, education, infrastructure, among others. With support from the Embassy of Ireland, SEATINI Uganda is implementing the STRIDE project, Sustaining Tax and Revenue Improvements for Development. STRIDE champions tax justice, accountability, and inclusive revenue systems.
SEATINI is implementing a project called STRIDE. STRIDE is sustaining tax and revenue improvements for development and in Uganda. This project is really timely given the current realities and circumstances in Uganda, but also even within the region. We see countries facing a lot of challenges, challenges of indebtedness, challenges of reducing aid, but also challenges of increasing population and an increasing need for social services. So there is an urgent need to enhance domestic resource mobilization, especially at local government level, to ensure that local governments can be able to provide social services like health, education, water, and also to provide the much needed infrastructure.
Community engagements are a key component of the STRIDE project, where taxpayers are given the opportunity to have their voices heard by those tasked with spending taxes on their behalf.
When citizens are actively involved in the entire revenue process, there will be happy taxpayers. In fact, this is what we are looking for, to have happy taxpayers and also happy tax collectors. And I know we can be able to do it.
We have installed street lights in 2 divisions. We started with Ishaka, and last year we installed in Central here. And people, if you can go there in the evening, their life has improved. We have chased away darkness, and people are doing their business with ease.
They are happy with us that we are doing good service delivery. If someone pays a tax and he wants, let's say, a medicine from the health center, and he or she finds it there, he's happy that his or her tax is doing well.
We are going to strengthen the social contract between, on one hand, the citizens as taxpayers, and on the other hand, the revenue administrators and duty bearers. We want to ensure that citizens have a say in how resources are mobilized, how they are allocated, and how they are utilized.
Domestic revenue mobilization not only provides governments with funds needed to invest in development, alleviate poverty, and deliver public services, but is also a critical step on the path of aid dependence to sustainable development financing.
Our local revenue has been of help. We have improved on service delivery. Like we have constructed the market shed. We have also constructed the bus park shed, and we have bought other pieces of land for the landfill, the bus park, and the mama grounds using the local revenue. We also intend within this very financial year to purchase more garbage bins.
Thanking Council for giving us a contractor who's doing the work of cleaning. Though it is not up to the best, there's some loopholes that he should see that he works on such that he can treat can clean the market well.
This project is going to provide us with a great opportunity to strengthen our collaboration with a number of ministries, departments, and agencies. For example, we are going to work closely with the Ministry of Finance, with the Ministry of Trade. We are going to work with the URA. We're also going to work with the Local Government Finance Commission. We're also going to work with a number of associations at both national and local level. We are going to work closely with the Tax Justice Alliance, which is at national level, but also across the country. And we're also going to work with a number of development partners. So we are going to work with a cross-section of MDAs and also other stakeholders.
The challenges that we face in revenue collection, we have a very literate community, business community, that does not know the use and the importance of revenue or paying tax. There is vast land and there is much transaction of land, which attracts land fees. But this could have been an opportunity where we are able to get some revenue. However, the political influence usually interferes, and where they come with some policies from their council, and that bar us from reaching some areas like collecting the land fees, and yet there is rapid land transactions or land trade. This project can be able to help us strengthen some policies that we can be able to reach out and be able to collect some percentage, the 10% that we are supposed to collect from land fees.
Property evaluation role is very key in revenue collection. So if we can be provided with one and train taxpayers on how to use the schedule, even the town agents, in fact, the technical team, if they can be provided the training on how to use the property evaluation role, local revenue may be enhanced.
Another approach we are going to use is to strengthen the capacity of the technical staff, non-technical staff, and policymakers to be able to understand and appreciate the policies which needs to be implemented in order to collect the taxes, and also to strengthen the systems in the town councils and the municipalities. In a number of these town councils and municipalities, the revenue mobilization systems are still a little bit weak. So we want to strengthen those systems.
This support from SEATINI, I think we are destined to improve this local revenue performance. We shall be in position to provide accountability and make the community accept or take this revenue collection as a very important initiative.
Across Uganda, Stride is proving that with voice comes power, and with accountability comes progress. The journey to equitable taxation is not just about policy, it is about people, it is about fairness, it is about Uganda.
This project, we believe, is going to really contribute to enhancing the capacity of government to be able to fund its own development sustainably and equitably.
In an era of declining global aid and mounting external debt, the key to sustainable development lies within our own borders. The future of public service delivery and national progress depends not only on external support, but on what is fairly and equitably raised through domestic resources. For millions across the country, taxation is more than a financial obligation. It is a vital investment in the much-needed social services such as health, education, infrastructure, among others. With support from the Embassy of Ireland, SEATINI Uganda is implementing the STRIDE project, sustaining tax and revenue improvements for development. STRIDE champions tax justice, accountability, and inclusive revenue systems.
SEATINI is implementing a project called STRIDE. STRIDE is sustaining tax and revenue improvements for development, and it's supported by the Embassy of Ireland in Uganda. This project is really timely given the current realities and circumstances in Uganda, but also even within the region. We see countries facing a lot of challenges, challenges of indebtedness, challenges of reducing aid, but also challenges of increasing population and an increasing need for social services. So there is an urgent need to enhance domestic resource mobilization, especially at local government level, to ensure that local governments can be able to provide social services like health, education, water, and also to provide the much needed infrastructure.
Community engagements are a key component of the STRIDE project, where taxpayers are given the opportunity to have their voices heard by those tasked with spending taxes on their behalf.
When citizens are actively involved in the entire revenue process, there will be happy taxpayers. In fact, this is what we are looking for, to have happy taxpayers and also happy tax collectors. And I know we can be able to do it.
We have installed street lights in 2 divisions. We started with Ishaka, and last year we installed in Central here. And people, if you can go there in the evening, their life has improved. We have chased away darkness, and people are doing their business with ease.
They are happy with us that we are doing good service delivery. If someone pays a tax and he wants, let's say, a medicine from the health center, and he or she finds it there, he's happy that his or her tax is doing well.
We are going to strengthen the social contract between, on one hand, the citizens as taxpayers, and on the other hand, the revenue administrators and duty bearers. We want to ensure that citizens have a say in how resources are mobilized, how they are allocated, and how they are utilized.
Domestic revenue mobilization not only provides governments with funds needed to invest in development, alleviate poverty, and deliver public services, but is also a critical step on the path of aid dependence to sustainable development financing.
Our local revenue has been of help. We have improved on service delivery. Like we have constructed the market shed, we have also constructed the bus park shed, and we have bought other pieces of land for the landfill, the bus park, and the mama grounds using the local revenue. We also intend within this very financial year to purchase more garbage bins.
Thanking Council for giving us a contractor who's doing the work of cleaning. Though it is not up to the best, there's some loopholes that he should see that he works on such that he can can clean the market well.
This project is going to provide us with a great opportunity to strengthen our collaboration with a number of ministries, departments, and agencies. For example, we are going to work closely with the Ministry of Finance, with the Ministry of Trade. We are going to work with the URA. We're also going to work with the Local Government Finance Commission. We're also going to work with a number of associations at both national and local level. We are going to work closely with the Tax Justice Alliance, which is at national level, but also across the country. And we're also going to work with a number of development partners. So we are going to work with a cross-section of MDAs and also other stakeholders.
The challenges that we face in revenue collection, we have a very literate community, business community, that does not know the use and the importance of revenue or paying tax. There is vast land and there is much transaction of land, which attracts land fees. But this could have been an opportunity where we are able to get some revenue. However, the political influence usually interferes, and where they come with some policies from their council, and that bar us from reaching some areas like collecting the land fees, and yet there is rapid land transactions or land trade. This project can be able to help us strengthen some policies that we can be able to reach out and be able to collect some percentage, the 10% that we are supposed to collect from land fees.
Property evaluation role is very key in revenue collection. So if we can be provided with one and train taxpayers on how to use the schedule, even the town agents, in fact, the technical team, if they can be provided the training on how to use the property evaluation role, local revenue may be enhanced.
Another approach we are going to use is to strengthen the capacity of the technical staff, non-technical staff, and policymakers to be able to understand and appreciate the policies which needs to be implemented in order to collect the taxes, and also to strengthen the systems in the town councils and the municipalities. In a number of these town councils and municipalities, the revenue mobilization systems are still a little bit weak. So we want to strengthen those systems.
This support from SEATINI, I think we are destined to improve this local revenue performance. We shall be in position to provide accountability and make the community accept or take this revenue collection as a very important initiative.
Across Uganda, Stride is proving that with voice comes power and with accountability comes progress. The journey to equitable taxation is not just about policy, it is about people, it is about fairness, it is about Uganda.
This project, we believe, is going to really contribute to enhancing the capacity of government to be able to fund its own development sustainably and equitably.
Good morning once again. I do welcome you back from that health break, and I think now we're a little more energized. Sugar levels are a little bit higher and more attentive to this important meeting that we are having this this morning. Earlier on, we heard from the Executive Director, SEATINI Uganda, who gave us the context of why we are here and why this project Stride is very important. During the break, we were joined by other key stakeholders, including members of parliament, and I would like to request them to stand up for recognition. Members of parliament who joined us during the break. Members of parliament. Honorable members of parliament who joined us during the break. All right, we'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves as and when they actually get in this room. But let's continue with our deliberations, and it gives me pleasure at this moment to invite remarks from the ambassador of Ireland in Uganda, Ambassador Kevin Colgan, and these remarks are going to be delivered by Mr. Peter Michael Oumo, who is the economic advisor at the embassy. Let's welcome him as he comes forward to deliver those remarks. And as you heard from the Executive Director, SEATINI Uganda, they are being supported by the Embassy of Ireland in Uganda in this particular project. Mr. Oumo, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, and good morning to you all. First, I want to start by apologizing for coming in late. We had to deal with some emergencies back in office, and Ambassador has not been able to be with us. He's just returned. Madam Jane Alunga and your team, distinguished participants, in your different capacities. It gives me great honor to welcome you to the launch of this project, the STRIDE project, which is being implemented by SEATINI and funded through the Embassy of Ireland. I am sure that the Executive Director and her team has and will continue outlining to us the salient aspects of this project. So I will not dwell anymore on that, but allow me to mention on behalf of the Embassy and on behalf of the Ambassador that Ireland commends the efforts the government of Uganda has taken to mobilize domestic resources to finance its development agenda. The importance of domestic revenue mobilization cannot be underscored any further. But we also know that in spite of the steps that have been taken to date, a number of challenges remain, and especially at the local government level with mobilizing own source domestic revenue. And this project is at the heart of supporting government efforts, and especially at the local government level, to raise revenue and to contribute to Uganda's development aspirations. Strengthening domestic resource mobilization and tax administration in developing countries is a priority for Ireland's international development policy, as outlined in our policy document known popularly as A Better World. We all know that the aim of domestic resource mobilization is to improve transparency, fairness, and efficiency of tax systems in developing countries, and in furtherance of the Sustainable Development Goals, and particularly SDG 17, which I believe we are all well conversant. Strengthening DRM helps to achieve inclusive economic growth. Improving domestic resource mobilization is the most sustainable and reliable pillar of financing for development and a vital source of funding for key sectors in developing countries like ours here in Uganda. That's why DRM is a very important part of Ireland's development work, and it is part of the efforts of Ireland to support developing countries in strengthening governance, which is a key priority for us. In line with Ireland's whole-of-government approach to its foreign policy, Ireland works closely with the Department of Finance and the Revenue Commissioners to support initiatives that strengthen domestic resource mobilization. Such work in domestic resource mobilization includes strategic engagements with the African Tax Administration Forum and partner tax administrations to help effective approaches, including through monitoring and country visits and delivery of technical assistance. And work bilaterally is focused on Malawi, Uganda, and Vietnam. As you might have heard from URA colleagues, if they have already spoken, there is a 3-year letter of agreement between Irish Revenue Commissioners and the Uganda Revenue Authority, focusing in capacity building, covering a number of areas, and peer learning from each other. 2 years ago, the Commissioner General and a team visited Ireland and saw what Ireland has been able to do. And early last year, a team from Irish Revenue Commissioners also visited Uganda. And in February, at the end of that visit, it was concluded with the signing of a letter of agreement for a 3-year period. And this work through SEATINI complements such initiatives. It's not a standalone. It is a whole of Ireland's whole of government approach towards financing development. I would like, on behalf of the Embassy, to congratulate SEATINI on the progress so far. And we are looking forward to positive results from this project as implementation unfolds. And with those few remarks, I want to thank you for listening and welcome you in a very special way to this launch event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, representative of the ambassador of Ireland in Uganda, Mr. Peter Michael Oumo, who is the economic advisor at that particular embassy. Well, we continue reflecting on STRIDE, a critical project, like you've heard from the embassy that is supporting SEATINI Uganda in implementing it. And the message is, please embrace the project because it's here to help our country to sustain itself in terms of raising domestic revenues that are very critical in light of the developments that we are seeing around the globe, where donors are beginning to hold back their kitty and saying, probably you can do it yourself. Now, let's get into the details of understanding much more about this particular project, and we are going to have a presentation titled Opportunities and Lessons Learned from the Baseline Survey Data Collection So Far. Let's welcome Mr. Obed Atuhaire, Monitoring, Evaluation, and Learning Specialist, who is going to make this presentation.
Thank you very much, moderator. As we wait for the slides, I want to say thank you to the organizers of this event, very important. And to say that what we're going to talk about, nice. Okay, so these are key highlights from the baseline survey that we conducted. A very unique baseline because, very unique in the sense that we went to all the 10 local government entities, the 5 municipalities and the 5 town councils. And I'm glad that I think all of them are represented here. And so what we're going to discuss are some of those key highlights that we picked because we're looking at opportunities. The program, on the program, it is well indicated, the opportunities. So we're looking at opportunities that are out there that one can tap into to increase local revenue mobilization. And then from that local revenue mobilization, we are likely to see an improvement in services. So the main purpose, as you can see, we were looking at ways to provide a clear understanding of the gaps in technical and non-technical expertise in local revenue mobilization, allocation, utilization, and accountability. That was our main focus. And our discussions centered around those main areas. The other objectives that guided our survey were, to examine the status of the existing Uganda domestic tax laws and regulatory frameworks. As you are going to see that there are some impediments, there are some bottlenecks around regulatory framework in local revenue mobilization. These guys are out there doing great, a fantastic job in local revenue mobilization, but there are some bottlenecks around the regulatory frameworks. There are certain things they cannot touch because they do not have the mandate. There are certain things they cannot enforce because they lack the mandate. And because of that, their efforts are affected. And we did that. Those are the main, identify the main bottlenecks and challenges in local revenue administration. Administration to mean collection and spending. Then also to assess the administrative capacity for tax collection and management, both at subnational and national levels. And then the other one being to assess the link between taxation and good governance. Then to make appropriate and evidence-based recommendations and to point out some areas for advocacy. Now, colleagues, those are some of the survey objectives that guided the discussions that we had with the gallant ladies and gentlemen in the House, some of them. Now, we are picking on some key things. We have the details in the report, which we cannot discuss here because of the limited time that we have. But to just mention that, and we are aware, this is a discussion that has been ongoing. Someone mentioned that from the 10 local government entities, I think it was the commissioner from local government, that maybe they will work as a case study for others. I want to say that this is more or less like a successor project on the domestic revenue mobilization for development project that was supported by USAID. That was implemented. Services increased. The 10 cities are not the other ones of those days. So we have issues regarding the status of the reform. Some of the revenue mobilization at local government revolves around the 43 legal frameworks. So we have some things like you mentioned, you had from the presentation, certain, I think from Isingiro, where someone is mentioning that they need a property role, a property evaluation role. I think it was the same issue in Napak. They don't have the property role. Those that have, and thank you local government, in some of the places where we went, like Nakasongola, they actually said you supported them to have an updated tax property role. And as we all know, that property tax is more or less a cash cow for every local government entity. So those that don't have are really lagging behind. Now, these are some of the challenges that these people are faced with. When we're trying to, the discussion around the bottlenecks or the challenges or the constraints, that we have issues to do with revenue planning and poor revenue planning and budgeting, which is a capacity issue, that certain times the planning is not accurate, the budgeting is not accurate. And because of that, some of these guys, they appear like they have underperformed or overperformed because planning and budgeting was not done well. As you can see, low taxpayer, a tax is a non-quid pro quo. I don't know whether that is the definition we still give in economics, but I think it has changed now. People are now saying, we pay tax, we expect a service. URA, isn't that the message? Yes, we pay a tax, we expect a service. In actually some of the areas they were telling us, someone was making a joke, said, in fact, let them first give us a service, then we give them the tax. Eh? Which one should come first? Is it a tax? Is it a service? So, limited taxpayer engagement, again, something to do with, in Kassanda, I'm glad the deputy town clerk, the town clerk, yes, and the mayor, they told us that for them, they have clustered, and I think actually everywhere we went, they have clustered the taxpayers according to their revenue source. And because of that, they engage the property owners separate, they engage the saloon operators, they engage the borders, they engage the, so that taxpayer engagement, we noticed in all the other 10 that this is a challenge, and because of that, because we are trying to promote the compliance, Gone are the days, I think, when people are using guns to run after taxpayers. You remember the days of graduated tax. People would run and run away from their houses, their homes. So the absence of physical social contracts, it is something that all these people represented here, and I think others are yearning for. Can we have some social contracts? The taxpayers they are saying for us, we are willing to pay. This is something I used to tell people in the leaders in the 10 cities, that everywhere we go, the taxpayers are saying, for us, we are willing to pay. URA, isn't it the same thing? We are willing to pay. Of course, the taxes sometimes, paying a tax is not one of those very sweet things. But people are saying, can we have some service? Okay? So, social contracts, the absence of that. Then, of course, we noticed some issues to do with staff incentives, that people are collecting money, but they feel they're not motivated enough. They feel they're not appreciated enough. I think you are doing a great job. You are doing business entities running in the municipalities and in the town councils that are not on the registers. And because of that, that revenue is lost. So the revenue is lost because the taxpayer, the registers are not up to date. So that's another challenge. Very good. And then, of course, the issues of capacity and then the advocacy, the community is not involved, and so on and so forth. Okay. Build the capacity gaps that we identified. In some of the areas, there are gadgets. Was it in Kassanda, I think, where the treasurer told us the gadgets are there, but some people have to go to their neighbors to help them operate some of these gadgets. And we now have children who are more IT compliant than some of us. So you even wait for your son or daughter to say, you operate for me this tablet. Okay? Then this one some of these things we were also looking at the collection efficiency that in some of these town councils, as you can see, on average, revenue performance for the financial year, we are looking at the budget versus the collection. And as you can see, in some of the places, Kassanda, for example, was at 67%, while Kotido was at 48%, and Moroto was at 76% in terms of collection efficiency. Then, of course, property tax is the best performing tax in all the 10 local government entities that we visited. And there appears a correlation between collection efficiency and staffing levels. We noticed that where the staffing levels are high, for example, Bushenyi, Ishaka, the collection is very high. Where there are gaps, then the collection efficiency is low. So those are some of the things, again, now that the responsible ministries are here. Yeah, I know Bushenyi is mentioned here. So then, of course, we talked about the willingness by the taxpayers to pay. Again, back to what I have already said. What is there to motivate these taxpayers to pay the tax? What is there to motivate them? And there are good practices out there. There are some cities that are doing great. There are some town councils that are doing great. You must have listened to someone from Ishaka who said, we put lights on that street and we chased away darkness. We chased away darkness. People are able to do businesses at night, and because of that, we feel it is something that can increase the willingness by the taxpayers to pay the taxes that are imposed. Yes. You see, like where we talked about unsatisfactory service delivery, this is again like what I'm already saying here, that that the taxpayers want services, and once they get the services, then they are happy to pay the taxes. There's some of the people we interacted with in the markets in the markets, they are saying, please clean, collect garbage, lights, drainage, and then we shall pay. The technical guys are saying, pay, and we use the money to provide the services. Okay? So these are some of the, so to say that there should be that linkage between the taxes collected and the services provided. That one, we are not going to, there are no shortcuts around it. Social contracts, we specifically, the executive director, SEATINI, stressed in her presentation here and also in the documentary, the issue of the social contracts. Social contracts that the taxpayers are willing to pay, and they are also saying, you also commit that you are willing and you are ready to use our taxes to provide the services that we badly need. So I am hoping that strides indeed will help to create a platform that will be used by the taxpayers and the technical people and the politicians to come up with physical social contracts that will make each party contribute significantly to tax collection or local revenue mobilization and service delivery. Next steps, very interesting here. Now, in the next steps, again, we asked, what should strides do with the support from the Irish? What should we start with? These are some of the things they mentioned. One, timely data update. Timely data update. They are saying if we can have all our business, whoever is doing business is registered and that entity is on the system, it would be easy for us to do the assessment. It would be very easy for us to do their registration, assessment, billing, and collection. Computers and transport. Again, this is another area where people said, no, that score is not. You guys are here. I can even ask you again. On the scale of 5, let me not go back there. But they said that is not enough score. We are doing badly there. Transport, other logistics that they need to collect taxes. Change in the legal framework. Those are some of the things. The details are in the report. Property evaluation. You see where property evaluation is at the highest. Property evaluation. Property evaluation. The cash cow for all these local government entities, property evaluation. Then earmarking revenues to services. Then supporting local economic development, a bit related. Increase community dialogue. Timely bidding and enforcement. Changing collection methods, and then involving political participation. That is, the higher the taller the graph, the higher the need. The higher the need. So as you can see, and one thing we noted across all the 10 local government entities, and I want to congratulate all of you, that there is good working relationship between the politicians and the technical people. Very good. I think we have moved away from situations where you meet in a group, in a hall, the technical, the political. That is it. That shows as you can see, we're looking at the impact of reforms. In case this changes, how much contribution do you think it will make? Yes, that's it. That's the end of this presentation. And like I mentioned, I had to pick out some key highlights. The details are in the report, and I'm sure SEATINI will find a way of making sure that we all have access to this report. So, thank you to the people who gave us an opportunity to speak with you. Thank you for giving us these ideas. We are looking forward to a successful Strides project in your respective local government entities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obed, for that presentation that helps us to understand better what this project is about, but also the challenges and opportunities that are down there in the local governments, who are the main key beneficiaries of this project. And it helps us to understand better what actually needs to be done to be able to implement this project properly, and how the role that the different stakeholders are supposed to play in implementing this particular project. At this moment, we are going to open for the discussions from the floor. If you have questions or comments about the project, let's use the next 15 minutes to do that as we wait for the other key stakeholders to prepare for the next segment of our discussion, which will include a panel to dig deeper into the issues around this particular project. So I request for a volunteer to move around the microphone for us to be able to get those quick comments, and then we'll have reaction from the different stakeholders to whom those particular comments or questions will be directed. There's a gentleman behind you. If you have a question or comment, please just put up your hand and we'll give you an opportunity to speak.
Thank you, moderator. My question goes to the last speaker, the presenter. Somewhere along staff being on post in revenue collection, and yet the staffing positions are 100% filled. The staff on post are not matching with the staff on the field. Is it at the central government level? Would like to know your strategy on how you would like that work to translate to the center. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bazira. Another comment from there?
Thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to thank the consultant.
Your name, please?
I am Moses Talibita. I'm the legal officer for Uganda National Health Consumers Organization. I wanted to thank the consultant because seemingly he represents the voices of civil society. And civil society are never elected, but we choose to represent the voiceless, who are the people. And in this jigsaw, I only saw him elevate the politicians and the technocrat government to function in their name, even utilize resources without consulting them. I want to speak to improving, or rather increasing community dialogue. Of course, when we invite the communities to come and they raise their issues, we do not capture them. We do not represent them. We start to think for them. I also want to speak to earmarking revenues to services. I think that speaks to tax justice, because we only know that government represents us when we see the social services A case in point is when I visit a hospital, I meet a health worker who is government, and I need a tablet. When I am given a prescription and advised to go to the nearest clinic, I don't think my government has given me the service I needed. I also want to speak to, for instance, the wetlands.
That will be your last comment?
The wetlands. Because I wanted to say that we have over-legislated ourselves. Because if you say that we need a change in the legal framework, we have very many laws that we are failing to implement. Why don't we implement those that we have and then see how we can move on? Internet for young people, all these urban places, without internet as an ambience, you're letting citizens move away and become less performers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Moses, for your comments. Let's get more, and then we'll hear the responses.
Thank you. My name is Dennis Ndaula. I know that projects have a lifespan. I don't know if I just missed out on the ED's presentation. I didn't hear her specify.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hi, it's Susan Waswire from Climate Action Network, Uganda. I did not say or did not hear whether climate change is a challenge, and if it is there, what is the way forward? What do you plan as the way forward to address that so that tax collection is not impeded? Thank you.
Eric Lomongin, Senior Treasurer, Napak Town Council. I've been going through your interventions here. I've realized SEATINI mostly is intervening in the software component. What could be blocking you from going for the hardware components? That's what's affecting us so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Emmanuel Okaja is my name, Town Clerk, Kotido. I think during the baseline surveys, we also raised the issue of how we can harmonize the issue of park fees. Some municipal councils up to now have not gotten any remittances from the park fees. I don't know whether there could be anybody who can give us a way that we can harmonize, that municipalities also can get that remittance on park fees. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Mohammed Ismail, the Mayor of Moroto Municipality. Yes, I want to thank the project. Yes, we have made strategies. We have also looked at the challenges, but I've seen that we don't have one of the key ministries here. That is a public service. You know, we can have all this in the paper, but we need human resource to implement this. So the challenges that we've got in Moroto municipality is human resource. We have a number of revenue sources that we can tap and make Moroto better. But the challenge is the people on ground that we're lacking. And also the other thing is the data. If this organization can help us, the urban authority, to fine-tune the sources of revenue, because we may capture, because of lack of resources, a lack of human resource, we may not get sufficient data. But you find that if you look at the town, you find that its potential is very, very high. So thank you very much.
One more comment here at the front.
Jen Logel
from Kotido Municipal. Mine is to the ministries. For the case of Karamoja, we have a challenge on infrastructure, especially on roads. And we would expect trade to improve, but as a sub-region, we have challenges on poor road network, in that even goods that come in take days to reach. This is a wet season, and we expect taxpayers to be compliant. But by the time someone's goods get spoiled on the road, we as implementers fail to achieve the targets. So in this distinguished meeting, I would like to again echo that as a sub-region, we need good infrastructure, especially roads, such that our taxpayers, even when we go to them, can be able to comply. Then while at the launch in Moroto, I raised the matter of including the judicial system in the collection of taxes. And I want to think that it will be a matter of consideration for the sake of collection of areas for the revenue sources that have lagged behind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At the front is a gentleman here. Actually, there are two.
Yeah, thank you very much, our moderator. I'm David Odiambo, Deputy Town Clerk, Apac Municipal Council. I'm directing my concern to an officer from URA. Just as we embrace the initiative of domestic resource mobilization, there has been these delays in making remittances to the local government, the returns from the taxes collected. This one also tends to delay services to our people. So how best can we bridge this gap to ensure that as we engage our taxpayers, the services should reach them also timely? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator. My name is Mukovi Silverio. I am the town clerk of Ishaka Municipal Council. We are sorry we Ishaka. I'm sorry we came in a bit late, but I thank you for the presentations, and especially the recent presentation on the baseline findings. The presenter presented the challenges. Yes, I agree with him, but I just wanted to emphasize the issue of legal issues. He indicated that we have over 40 laws governing tax administration in the country. It's very, very true, we have them. But most of the laws which we use as local governments, many of these laws, court decisions have punched a lot of holes in most of these laws. And therefore, as local governments, as municipalities, as town councils, we find ourselves collecting taxes from a very, very limited scope of businesses within our towns. I just want to give an example. In a town, the most booming businesses are petrol stations, there are pharmacies, there are drug shops, there are private clinics, there are banks. But court decisions have punched holes, and I imagine a problem also with the property tax. And I imagine a problem also with the property tax. Because URA is in, it collects. Because URA is in, it collects rental income. Rental income. Local governments are in, they are collecting property rates. And when you look at all the taxes, the basis of payment is basically the rental evidence. Now, like, is basically the rental evidence. Now, like, people are saying, isn't this double taxation? So if we don't address the issues of legal reform, or the legal framework very well, that is also something which can easily slip off our hands as local governments. And yet, from the presentation, you indicate that it's one of the major sources of revenue for local governments. So we need to do a lot in order to address the issues, the legal issues that are. Among the opportunities, there was an issue of political participation. I agree. Where both the technical and the politicians have worked together, or where the politicians have actually come in to help, we have realized a lot. But I also wanted to emphasize that it's not only political participation, but also technical participation. We have seen positive results in local governments where every department is involved in issues of revenue collection, because the tax base of municipalities cut across several departments. Like if you told an education officer to help and enforce the collection of property rates from private schools, the collection of local service tax from private schools, he will do it better mobilization, and we find them worth, because they are non-aligned, non-aligned to any party. So for them, they work objectively. So we can also venture into that as an opportunity. We see how to support them so that they help the local governments in the mobilization of taxes. Not only that, even the property owners. If we organize them very well, because these are the property taxpayers, then we can easily achieve a lot.
Lastly,
otherwise, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to make these comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think that gives us a wider perspective and feedback on the issues that were presented in the baseline survey, the questions and issues that continue to emerge. So can we get some quick responses from the relevant authorities? But it seems there's another comment. Let's hear from the gentleman there.
Thank you, moderator. Just one quick comment and observation. I think from the present of the baseline and two of the people who commented, something has come up on the legal framework. So I just wanted to ask both SEATINI and the people in this room, maybe the representative from Ministry of Local Government will throw more light. Are you aware, maybe rather than reinventing the wheel, are you aware that Uganda Law Reform Commission right now is undertaking a study to review the legal and regulatory framework for revenue collection at local governments, collection and management? Phase one is focusing on local service tax, hotel tax, and property tax, and some of those have been highlighted in this meeting. So rather than reinvent the wheel, I think this is an opportunity to take advantage of. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that critical information that is beneficial to the different stakeholders that here in the room. And let's see if we can get some quick responses to some of the issues that were put across. If you believe that the issue was directed to you, let's begin with Mr. Obed, who made the presentation on the baseline survey.
Thank you very much. I think the first one was about the one that was raised by Mr. Mbazira about the staffing and how the staffing levels relate to tax collection. And we did mention that Bushenyi Ishaka municipality, they have their staffing levels at 100%. And then we are saying even their revenue collection is very high. And then we compared that one with, I think, Kotido, that is at 50%, and showing also that we have low levels of tax collection, so which matches that. So we're saying where in some of these areas where you have the required manpower, the collection is high. Where it is not high, it's because of those other factors that we talked about, the tools, the capacity, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much. But also, in addition to what Peter has just raised about the status of these legal reforms, we have all those reforms, the laws that need to be reformed or that are being worked on, and their status and the stage at which they are in the baseline report, which we shall share. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obed. We are going to go for a panel of discussion, and I realize that some of these questions can actually be answered during that segment. The project-related questions will be answered by Mr. Aloysius Kitengo, who is the Program Coordinator, Financing for Development at SEATINI, Uganda. He's going to be part of this panel. So now I'm going to invite the panelists to actually come forward so that we can have that discussion. And let me begin with Mr. Aloysius Kitengo. Kindly, if you can step forward and take your seat here so that we can have that panel discussion. We are going to have Mr. Lodemo Phillips, who is the Principal Township Officer, Nakapiripirit Town Council. Please, if you can also come forward, you're part of the panel. We are going to have also Mr. Nyenje Ronald, Manager, Tax Exemption and Policy Analysis, Uganda Revenue Authority. Please step forward. You're also part of the panel. Ms. Jenny Francis Asimwe Musoke, Administration Officer, Urban Authorities Association of Uganda. You're also part of the panel. Please do step forward. And also Mr. Gideon Longole. He is a Senior Assistant Town Clerk, Moroto Municipal Council. Please do step forward so that we can have a discussion to dig deeper into the issues that have been part of the submissions this morning. Let me also take an opportunity to recognize the presence of Mr. Andrew Biaruhanga, Officer in charge of Trade at the Embassy of the Netherlands. Mr. Biaruhanga, if you can kindly stand up for recognition. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Can understand, but also to respond to some of the issues so that the audience can understand this particular project and how prepared you had to receive it, the challenges and opportunities that you see in the respective areas where you operate from. But to kickstart this discussion, we'll go to Mr. Kitengo, and before I put a direct question to you, I would like you to respond to some of the project-related questions that came across from the floor. Mr. Kitengo.
Thank you very much, moderator, for the opportunity extended. To start with, the project lifespan, it is a one-year project, but subject to extension. And this extension is going to depend on how we are going to perform. And I think this one is going to be how we are going to collaborate with targeted municipal councils and town councils, but also even our work with departments and agencies, which include the Ministry of Finance in the areas of the policy aspect, but also even Uganda Revenue Authority, the Ministry of Trade, but also even the Ministry of Local Government. So that collaboration and looking at issues which we can push forward, as highlighted within the project, is going to give us at least an opportunity to expand or extend the project. But as per now, it is a one-year project subject to expansion.
Whether it features in the plans, because it's one of the key issues that is likely to affect domestic revenue mobilization.
The aspect of climate change is considered because you have just seen an highlight of the survey. But when you look at the findings of the survey, those are some of the key issues that are considered, including issues of gender, when it comes to how does because when you look at the way the project is structured, for instance, in Karamoja sub-region or Karamoja region and the district where we are going to operate, you find that you cannot leave out the aspect of climate, its impact on production and productivity, but also even on the livelihoods of the people. So when we look at the regions and what affect their production and productivity in terms of even revenue mobilization, you can't ignore the concept or the aspect of climate change. So it is one of the components and it is covered, but also it's going to be internalized more when we engage beyond the findings we have in the baseline. So the component of climate change is covered and it's going to be addressed in the project.
All right. There was another issue that actually came out. Eric suggested that you are not focusing more on hardware issues. And why are you more on software issues and hardware issues? I think you understand what he means by using those acronyms.
Maybe to get clearly, maybe the hardware issues, which one of the last presenter was trying to talk about when it comes to issues of borders maybe, or the motorcycles to enable the tax administrator, because now we are looking at the urban authority where we have the the town agents. When it comes to maybe a bicycle or computer or point of sales machine and others. To me, I think it can be another step which we need to look at when it comes to the project extension. But not only here, because when you look at, first of all, let me just say this. When you look at the way local government and local revenue is being managed, I think even the local governments have a challenge in one way or the other, because the amount of revenue allocated for revenue mobilization by local government is too little. And maybe this calls for the political and technical wing to appreciate but when you find it is an issue, maybe they need to appreciate what is a trading license and what does it do. When it comes to the aspect of understanding some regulations or rules, for instance, the property tax, and to me, as it is provided within the law, that the property tax is anchored on fiscal decentralization, is supposed to be prioritized. And when it comes to urban authority, you find that when we're engaging, some of the leaders were saying that we cannot give the opportunity to the taxpayers association or to the property owners or occupant owners association to be given the mandate, because it's going to become a problem to us. But the law provides it clearly that now it is being amended, but prior it was under section 37, 1 and 4.
Let's now go to the ground to get the experiences of the authorities who are involved in this particular struggle. And we want to begin with Mr. Gideon Longole, who is the Senior Assistant Town Clerk, Moroto Municipal Council. And my question to you will be, what are some of the challenges and opportunities in your municipality that you faced in implementing a socially inclusive revenue mobilization strategy, but also engaging vulnerable groups such as rural women, youth, and persons with disabilities as people who should actually be part of the tax bracket?
Thank you very much. I think the biggest challenges that we face as local governments, one of them is inadequate data, especially in terms of knowing which people are supposed to pay tax. I'll give you an example of the local service tax. Now, the 5th schedule of the Local Government Act provides for the collection of the local service tax. But you find that most local governments or institutions where these employees were supposed to pay this tax, local governments don't have data. So I think that's where the biggest problem. There are a number of NGOs. I'll give you an example of Moroto. We have several NGOs that are in place, but you find that accessing data of the number of people who are in this gainful employment is one of the biggest challenges. And sometimes even when you get this data, you find the challenges of remitting this money into the rightful places, because the law says the local service tax is supposed to be sent to a local government where the person resides or gets the basic services from. The other challenge is the ignorance of taxpayers. A number of taxpayers are ignorant of the different taxes that they're supposed to pay. So this affects the capacity of local governments
across the country and not to pay anything to the local governments. And yet, while they're in the local governments, they are causing a lot of havoc, they're throwing garbage, there are many things, they are causing wear and tear. So I think there is need to harmonize discharging policies between local governments and a Ministry of Trade. The other issue is also poor service delivery at the local government level. When the services that are extended to the people are not up to the standard, when the community does not feel them, you'll find that the rate at which they pay the taxes, they respond to the payment of taxes also comes down. So these are, and among many others, are the challenges that affect local revenue collection in the local government's context.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Longole. Let's now move on and hear from the Urban Authorities Association of Uganda, and they are represented by Ms. Frances Asimwe Musoke here on the panel. And the question to you will be, some of the things that have come out of the discussion we've had here since morning is the issue of capacity building. And we want to hear from you, how can the authority that you represent help in capacity building for local governments to ensure we have better tax administration and service delivery under this particular project we're launching today, STRIDE?
Thank you very much. First of all, I think there are some people who don't know what urban authorities is all about. It's the association for all cities, municipalities, town councils, and all their divisions in Uganda. We do lobbying and advocacy. We influence policy changes. We participate in all government policy-making activities. Like at the moment, we've been participating in law reform, with Law Reform Commission in the issues of taxes, hotel taxes and property taxes. So basically, how we can improve, how we can help in capacity building of local governments. We are a platform for all the local governments. And when we have training sessions, for instance, if you are a SA, there's a problem on the ground, taxes are not collected, we can sit with them, arrange a training program for the whole country, and we do it in a regional phase, in a phased way. So we have the platform for everything, laws, taxes, anything to do with government business. So it's a matter of getting together with maybe Revenue Authority, if it is something to do with revenue. If it's anything to do with laws, we work with the Law Reform Commission. Like at the moment, we are in a continuous process with Law Reform Commission, working on their laws on hotel taxes, because they are saying people like whites can come like 5, they sleep in a cottage. So they are evading tax of 4 people and paying for tax for 1 person. So those are engagements we have been having. And recently, like a few days ago, we are the right platform to be contacted. We make a work plan and maybe a training manual or training topics, and we call, or we call them and we program the training for anything in Uganda in the local governments, because they are all our members. I don't know whether I got it right.
There were also other issues that came out. Since you are the authorities in charge and you are all over this place, there are also other issues that we have heard about that have come out, issues of hardware, enhancing the capacity of the local governments to actually be able to collect data. They need laptops. They need probably some funding to be able to do that. Are you thinking about those particular areas? How you can help
this
them?
one we've been taking on board, and I think I'm going to forward it to my Secretary General, because hardware is a problem. Hardware and network. I think my town clerks are here, because I'm not supposed to talk loud because my bosses are here, the technical people, the town clerks and mayors, if they are here, because they are on the ground. Most of them have a problem of internet. Like they can have 1 laptop, by the time there is no network, they don't have maybe a vote for data, those kind of things. So there are things we are going to look into while lobbying with government, with local government, on how they can be improved and enhanced. Maybe by putting more masts in the local governments, so that when they are doing tax assessments or any other business, government business, there's no internet interruption. Because this one, we have got it from different avenues, hospitals. You are in a hospital trying to do something on internet, the internet is down. And I think even here in Kampala, you can go to a bank, you want to do something urgent, they tell you internet is down. So it is this cloud thing, but I think it needs to be enhanced. Yeah.
All right, thank
we
you.
are going to work towards that, and how we shall see which agency or donor we can go to handle that issue.
Because if you don't actually do that, you'll be asking so much from these people when they cannot even collect data and to tell who exactly should be paying the taxes. But let's hear from Uganda Revenue Authority, represented by Mr. Nyenje Ronald, Manager, Tax Exemption and Policy Analysis. And we want to understand if there are any policy reforms or innovations that URA is considering to broaden the tax base in our country, while also ensuring fairness and minimizing the burden on vulnerable populations, but also critical, something that you should also talk about. When we talk about broadening the tax base, there's that problem of exemptions. We hear that some people who should be paying taxes, but they don't.
Thank you so much for that question. The issue of broadening the tax base. First and foremost, I want to say that the tax base is our economy. We equate our economy to be the tax base. That's something that we need to point out. And I want to take note of the following. One, our economy is so dynamic. It's growing very fast, by the way. Dynamic. There are new products that our tax structure can be able to map well to the way the tax base is expanding. That is something which is very critical and something that we need to take note of. Then two, the informal sector is also growing. In 2024, our Bureau of Statistics published some figures, and they told us that the size of the informal sector is now 54%. But remember, that's also part of the tax base. Number three, again related to the tax base, which is our economy. Our economy is integrating with the global economy very fast. We are now in a global village. That is, again, something that is related to our tax base. So the issues related to the tax base are very critical, and therefore we must come up with innovations that can help us to expand the tax base. But it all starts with the policies by the government to be able to have all these emerging products and services get into the tax net, and also come up with other regulations and innovations to be able to formalize our economy, and also work with the initiatives that are coming through at the global level to make sure that our country benefits from the new tax rules that are emerging. That will help us to expand our tax base.
And on the issues of exemption?
On the issue of the exemptions, to be honest with you, exemptions are not bad if you give them out deliberately, intentionally, because they help some sectors also to grow and be able to get some other benefits like employment, which is something that we are looking at as a country. So we are trying to make sure that that line is also properly streamlined, but also to make sure that we track and see if we are getting the benefits out of these exemptions that the government is giving out. The key issue is, as we move forward, we have to make sure that any exemption that is not delivering value should be scrapped. We drop it and be able to keep our tax base healthy. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Let's now move on to Nakapiripirit Town Council, and we want to hear from the Principal Township Officer, Mr. Lodome Phillips. What practical steps are you taking to prepare for the implementation of this project that is coming on board? But also you can share with us your experience on how you are also setting the goals to achieve some of the key issues contained in this project.
Thank you very much. First of all, we are the ones who are too excited for the STRIDE project because first of all, the project objectives are well intentioned. Its outcomes and including its activities. We embrace the objectives, the outcomes, and the activities of the STRIDE project as Nakapiripirit Town Council. First of all, we will appreciate and support this project because we have more opportunities that have not been exploited that we expect the STRIDE project to help us increase our revenue base. For example, through promotion of public businesses and support to independent vendors, that has not been the case. Is going to improve our local revenue base such that we will be able to have more customers, we shall have more businesses that will be able to tax. The other opportunity that we will need is to tap into the unexploited local revenue. We have sources like property tax, can imagine. An urban authority more than 22 years, but as is still a sleeping giant in terms of property tax, in terms of land fees, which are not yet exploited. And with this STRIDE project, that was our position that we will be able to exploit into these areas to increase our tax base. The local community of this urban council, for example, is based on agriculture. And through government programs that have come in place, like the National Oil Project is now at our district, and Nakapiripirit Town Council has been targeted. And we have been piloted to exploit projects, crops like nuts, sunflower, soybeans, that can be tapped into an oil project. And most of my community are good in these areas. I am sure this will promote and expand our local revenue tax base. Then the other is our community. We live on the foot of Mount Kadam. And we have ecotourism services that have never been tapped into. Many tourists come and climb into the mountain, watch birds freely. And I am sure with these opportunities, these areas, we are going to strengthen and be able to expand our local revenue base. But again, because what we did during our inception meeting was to carry on our strengths and weaknesses and opportunities. First of all, before anything else, we realized that through our data analysis, we realized that we had more challenges than our strengths. For example, we have issues to do with poor administrative capacity to carry tax assessment. The entry point to revenue collection before any other thing is to carry on an assessment. We need to have revenue assessment report, revenue enhancement report at one point, ladies and gentlemen. We may think it is a simple exercise, but you may not get these revenue instruments in place. So I think, given this, by building capacity of our technical team and non-technical team in this area, will improve a great deal. The other is our limited administrative capacity, again, to enforce. I will need to be advised by our parent ministry, Ministry of Local Government and Public Service, that to this extent, some urban councils do not have a full department of law enforcement to date. And aware of the role of this department in enforcement of local revenue. It is to some urban authorities, they are never existing. Why? What has happened is that they have they are provided for a high-level education for the person to be recruited in this sector. That to be a law enforcement officer, you must have a diploma in law and a certificate in legal practice. We attempted to advertise for these officers in the national print media, could not even attract a single person. What do you expect an urban authority to do at this level? Ministry of Local Government, Public Service, we need your response in this area.
Well, thank you so much. We have two leaders from Karamoja sub-region. They have submitted issues to do with the taxation, but none of them is commenting on the fact that there is mining that is booming in Karamoja, and it could be a source of revenue. I don't know if you are intentionally avoiding to talk about it. Would you like to speak about it? I've not heard you talking about how you're strategizing to actually collect revenues from that particular area. Is it an area that you have been barred from collecting?
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is true that we have the number of industries that are currently developing in Karamoja, and we intend to tap into the existing opportunities, local service tax, and also to demand for the royalties, our share of the royalties. There are a number of associations that are currently being established, community associations within, but I think the other thing that is needed is to sensitize the communities and the different stakeholders of their responsibilities so that they can be able to take advantage of the opportunities that exist therein. But also, a number of vehicles keep removing, especially limestone. And when we try as council to tax them or to even engage them to pay parking fees, you find that it becomes a big challenge, because somehow it seems that some of the vehicles
to try to follow them up somewhere, you'll realize to try to follow them up somewhere, you'll realize you will step on some of the big things. So at one point we needed support in this area such that we be able, how do we benefit as the local governments, as Karamoja region? The local governments as Karamoja region. This has been very, very technical. Then the other is, of course, that sector at one point is just growing. A few companies that have come, we have Tororo Cement and others, we are beginning to construct the factories for cement, but the local mineral venture is just at a minor scale. Sometimes our tax, I think, would have widened also our tax base in this area. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for responding to that critical issue. And let's go to Mr. Chitengo. And I would like to understand, having heard all the challenges that have been highlighted by the key stakeholders from the local government and urban authorities, and also the other colleagues who asked questions here, how have you positioned the STRIDE project to be able to strengthen the capacity of both the citizens and the local governments to ensure that we have accountable and equitable tax systems, but also if you can also highlight for us some early lessons or success stories from implementation so far based on this project?
Thank you very much. I want to first start with my observation, but also even on the issues we have. And I want to ask ourselves who are here, when it comes to one of the sources of revenue, the local service tax, how many of us have taken the initiative to work with our local authorities to indicate that I'm working within Kampala? I'm talking about those ones who are working with different municipalities and town councils, but I'm residing. For instance, if I'm working in Kampala, I'm residing in Mukono or Wakiso. How many of us have taken that initiative? We have made the local service tax unproductive because we have failed to understand what it's supposed to do. And even that makes it difficult for the local government to have data to be able to collect this revenue from the responsible taxpayers. So to me, I think we need to first understand local service, the taxes we are supposed to administer. And to me, that is one of the lessons I can put forward. First of all, we need to appreciate and understand the taxes we're supposed to administer and the intent of these taxes. Because when you look at it, the local service tax, I want to agree with what my colleague from the Urban Authority was talking about. The local service tax and hotel tax replace the graduated tax. But people don't understand, and they don't know them, and they don't know how even they're supposed to be administered. So when it comes to the hardware world, or the hardware perspective of understanding the concept, we need to first understand what are the provisions within the law are supposed to benefit. How can we use the provision within the law to benefit us in revenue collection? But also, even I think we need to be able to create awareness on that particular sources of revenue for the citizens or the taxpayers to understand and appreciate. When it comes to local hotel tax, members were saying that for us we have, okay, it is not a fair tax in one way or the other, because it is more favoring the urban authorities, and that's why even this project is key when it comes to such taxes, because at least you have at least 1 to 10 or 15 lodges or hotels that can fetch for you reasonable amount of revenue. But when it comes to how many hotels do you have you taken the initiative? We were somewhere and someone was saying that we can collect around 500,000 shillings in a year from hotel tax. And someone was asking, how many hotels do you have? There are more than 15. And citizens around were saying that when you come to these hotels, you cannot even find space in the night. What is the problem? What have we done so that we can enable the taxpayers to appreciate their challenges, but we need to make sure that we create awareness. Those are some of the lessons and learning I'm trying to put across. Those are some of the things we need to understand and make sure that we no longer act as tax administrators. I liked what the consultant was talking about, and this is what we have been trying to even talk about when we engage the Uganda Revenue Authority, that should we still talk about the non-quid pro quo payment when it comes to the services? Yes, we know that what you pay is not what you're supposed to get, but let us see the services. Do they consider that? So we need to come on as the project, we are planning to engage the technical personnel, but also the non-technical personnel and the taxpayers. For instance, the market women, but also the property owners, the border, those groups that are key in terms of generating, contributing to revenue mobilization. I want also to give you this example of you find that another challenge maybe which we didn't highlight, or maybe which didn't come out clearly, is the problem of local government. I'm sorry to say, local government tendering out key sources of revenue, like the market arena or the market source of revenue, without having a reserve price or a base informing them that this is how much we can get from this market. And they are going ahead to tender out. And yet they could have said, what do we need as local government? We need point of sales machine. We need people to man this market, and then we can get this money. This money can do a service to us. Because when you look at the other services, the other sources of revenue, they can be administered. Property tax, you can administer them. But this one, because you don't know each time and then who is entering into the market, you are leaving it to the private sector to take lead. I'm sorry to say, but we need also to look at how can we make sure that we change our perspective when it comes to revenue collection from specific sources of revenue. And when it comes to the aspect of I'm still looking at the hardware. We had a challenge, or we have been as civil society, as SEATINI Uganda, and the work we do with local government. You find that there is what they call the revenue cycle, but you find that some of our local governments, when it comes to revenue, they call it enumeration and registration. Who is doing it? Have we given them the capacity to be able to appreciate and understand that if I find someone who is owning a shop which is supposed to do retail, but it has something beyond retail, he has even a bottle of beers inside, that is a different trading license. And how are you going to trade that? How are we going to treat that one? Do we do effective induction of our enumerators and registers of the taxpayers. So you find that as we are looking at, so to me, I think the chain of local revenue mobilization, for instance, assessment, who is doing assessment? And you can ask some of our leaders here. You might find that the town agent is also doing assessment. Really? The parish chief is also doing assessment. Where do you derive the capacity to do so? You don't have the regulations that are informing you. You don't know even the provisions that are informing you. So this project is coming on board to create awareness in that area of software, because we have not planned for having that way of supporting to support local government or the urban authority to be able to generate revenue from all the sources, potential sources of revenue, and be able to generate adequate revenue. Because if you are not, some of our local governments are contributing 1% or 5% to their budget. That means that 95% is coming from the central government. Are you an independent government? So it becomes challenging to you even to provide services because you are dependent on the central government. And this has been made worse when it comes to the single treasury account, where some are saying that the remittance is not corresponding to the needs of how they are supposed to utilize this revenue collected. So to me, I think the project is going to provide an opportunity. We know that it can be strengthening because they are potential local governments with the knowledge, but we are going to add and expand, but also create opportunity for close learning from the different urban authorities or from the different town councils, so that we can get to know how the others are performing when it comes to issues of local revenue mobilization.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chitengo. Somebody following this discussion is asking some basic questions here and is saying, ask them, do they have knowledge as far as resource mobilization is concerned? You cannot engage in increasing domestic revenue mobilization while ignorant about the same. And then also makes a suggestion, says, recall Jennifer Musisi doing Kampala Carnival. It made her a lot of money and built trust with her taxpayers in KCCA. Urban tourism on infrastructure is central for those without natural tourism. Only Entebbe has a zoo, but those without national parks, they can create children parks and cash in money. That's a proposal there. But let's wind up with a best way forward. And I want to begin with you, representative from Uganda Revenue Authority. Very quickly, coordination is one of the key issues that we actually need in order to have a successful project, but also to enhance revenue mobilization in our country. How do we do it? What advice would you give?
That is very critical because we need to work together. The key issue is to identify what we are supposed to do and who should be doing what. We define the roles and responsibilities of the stakeholders, and in that way, I think and I believe we shall be able to coordinate and work together to deliver the results that we want to see.
All right, let's hear from you on coordination.
I think that it's very important for every stakeholder to understand their responsibility. There are a number of stakeholders within the revenue mobilization, collection, expenditure, who do not know their responsibilities. The citizens, it's important for the citizens to know what they're supposed to do, and for the council also to deliver its mandate, deliver services that can be able to improve service delivery in the different areas that we work in. And also, it is important for government to address these bottlenecks that we have just identified. I'll give you an example of the revenue department or in the finance department. The responsibility of the revenue officer is just unassigned responsibilities. And in local governments where there is a challenge of understaffing, it is usually maybe assigned to and maybe a senior account assistant who may not even have the capacity to perform this role. It is very important for government to put in the right staff to be able to mobilize this revenue. But at the same time, it is important for the local government to ensure that this money is put to the right use. There we can be able to improve coordination and service delivery. Thank you.
Let's hear from you, Madam Masimwe. Coordination. Your microphone.
I think with coordination, we have to look at our chain of operations, and it should be vertical and horizontal, especially where we see excellent performers in tax collection. I think we need to share that knowledge, benchmark with the town councils or municipalities who are performing well in tax collection, and look at what areas are helping them to get more revenue through tax. I'll give you an example of Koboko. Koboko is a municipality, but it's moving very fast, such that even the mayor of Koboko is now the president of the East African Local Government Council and Local Government Association. He popularizes even the small things he does. For instance, he's gone into land banking. When they have a bit of local revenue to save, they put it into land banking. He has been telling us that he's saving it for investors. If you come and you want to invest, he will lease it to you. The council will lease it to you, and that will be money to the council, long-term money. Or if you want to do a short-term project, he'll give you the land and you pay money to the council. So I think we have to look into wider spectrum areas of getting taxes and revenue for the councils, and that will be the way forward. And also benchmarking with nearby countries. If there are any countries that perform well in local tax revenue, we have to look into that avenue and see how best they do it. As UAAU, we can help you to go to them, because we are members. We are members of the East African Local Government Association. We can help you, any town council to go to any town council in East Africa. And there are 8 East African countries to benchmark. And we shall also continue lobbying for capacity buildings for the local governments. And I'm going to take all the findings from this meeting to my Secretary General, who will present it to maybe either funders or to government for action. I beg to submit.
Thank you very much for those commitments. Let's now hear from Phillips.
Thank you very much. For purposes of coordination, we would want every stakeholder to be engaged, right from Uganda Revenue Authority, that is now a single revenue collector, all of the rest of us agents. We want that linkage, right from central government to the local government. And then the local councils, what I've observed is they have never legislated on local revenue collection. There is no policy, there is no strategy. I appeal that our urban councils legislate on formulating some bylaws on local revenue, mobilization and collection. And then bringing other stakeholders on board in the local governments, especially in the urban council. We have the building control committees that are neglected. They are not part of our local revenue committee. You have the fiscal, the urban fiscal committees, and yet these committees have avenues of collecting revenue, but they are never part of the board of revenue collection. So I appeal that we bring them on board, because they are very important in the engagement of our local revenue mobilization and collection. Thank you very much.
All right, a big round of applause to the panel. But I'll request them to stay put, because we are going to get around maybe 5 comments from the audience so that they can respond, because I know given this discussion that has been going on, maybe they have scratched your mind and you want to say 1 or 2 things. But let me use this opportunity to recognize the presence of the Honorable Michael Kakembo, MP Entebbe Municipality. He's a member of the Committee of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Honorable, if you can kindly stand up for recognition. He'll be speaking to us later on as we progress with this deliberation. Now, let me invite questions and comments from the audience to hear what you make of the discussion we have just had. maybe it could be a question of a proposal on the best way forward on how we can ensure the full implementation of this project for the benefit of our country. There's already a hand there. Let's take that question or comment.
Thank you. My name is Richard Obedi. I work as the Executive Director of the Populace Foundation International. Basically, we do policy research and advocacy on pertinent issues. Just to touch on what the lady has talked on benchmarking, and I'll tie that with what Aloysius has said on cross-learning. Maybe you need to take all these 10 local government entities to some of the best performing councils. For instance, you can pick Wakiso or Mukono, especially in local revenue mobilization. Those two councils are actually working well. And maybe I would also like to put Moroto on the spot. Moroto, the municipality, the Moroto district or the Moroto municipality on the spot. How effective is your council? I would like to, I'm asking this because on issues to do with mining and extractives, okay, we know the issues surrounding mining. And I would also give a case of how effective Kitgum district local government put an international company doing extractive, ROM graphite mining. And they used the power of council to actually chase them. The council of Kitgum district local government chased an international company doing graphite mining. And until when they came back to the ministry, harmonized their position, and a whole delegation from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development went back to Kitgum. They had to agree at the council level, and they are allowed to go back to the site where they're doing the exploration. So if you could deploy such a strategy, and all I'm saying is make effective use of council. And by our laws, council resolutions are never ignored. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another comment?
Thank you, moderator. Peter Michael Umo from the Embassy of Ireland. There was a comment about the duration of the project, which I felt maybe was partly answered. I thought that the funding at the moment that received is for 1 year, but the earmarked funding for the project is for 3 years. There was a 1 year disbursement unless SEATINI really fails to perform, which I don't seem to see from this meeting today. There should be funding for the next 2 years, at least in our program. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you so much. There's another hand here.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Elliot, and I want to appreciate the panel for the great voice that you have shared with us. My concerns are on two issues. I would want to hear from Aloysius if SEATINI has already done the capacity building assessment, because I think civil society will have had a challenge of carrying out capacity building to the same group that has not most times changed the program. And then from the panel, I have not heard the concerns of corruption in revenue mobilization, but I heard one of the panels talking about the issue of attitude. And I think this has also been one of the biggest problems of why in different constituencies that taxpayers fail to remit their revenues because of corruption and not seeing the work that has been done in terms of service delivery. And I also want to applaud Irish Aid for the program, and I think this will also help us to increase citizen participation in governing their resources. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Elliot. Another comment?
Thank you so much, moderator. My name is Agria Tegeka, and I'm the Principal Commercial Officer for Ishaka Municipal Council. And my inquiry is simple. maybe I would like to know the level of engagement for this project. The stakeholders at the local government level, especially in our work planning is concerned, because many other times when the projects of the kind, you find we are not harmonizing the work plans, and some of these businesses such as hotels, because if you could take an example of some hotels, they don't want to disclose a number of maybe visitors or residents or workers, and we find it difficult to mobilize revenue so that it supports our revenue base. So I don't know whether in our capacity building or in our strategies we are thinking of addressing such concerns. Otherwise, we welcome the project and we hope to work together with the team, and we thank the initiators and the brain behind this project. Thank you so much.
2 more comments and then we get responses. There's a lady behind there and a gentleman, 2 ladies and then 1 gentleman. Those 3 comments and comments.
Thank you so much for convening us and for sharing this project with us. My name is Rina Nyanzi, and I'm from can do more to ensure that this works better. But then my second comment also was on, from all that I've heard, I think if there is room to work with other partners or people who are interested in pushing this project further or elements of it in other districts, would like to know if that is an opportunity available, because I think one of the members asked something about community dialogue, and if we are speaking for the people, there are other organizations that are probably doing a bit of something in other districts, and they feel that there is room to have some of these elements that you've shared today in their projects, or even bring in some of theirs into yours. I don't know if that is something that is available. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My name is Fiona. I work with Touch the Heart Uganda. Thank you so much, SEATINI, for this project and the Ireland Embassy. Looking at the stakeholders in this project, I think we have left under Registration Services Bureau, because if we are looking at revenue mobilization, we also have to look at formalization of businesses. Some time back in Kampala, Wakiso and Mukono, there is a program that was adopted, and that is called the Taxpayers Registration Expansion Program. And in this program, we saw that URSB was involved, Uganda Revenue Authority was involved, due to the fact that whoever would come to get, or whoever who was qualifying for a license was always advised to formalize the business. So in that way, they were able to track all the taxpayers let me say in Wakiso, in Mukono, and in Uganda, in Kampala, sorry. And I've seen that this has worked. That is why you see that most of the revenue that is collected, all the taxes, come from Kampala, Wakiso, and Mukono because of this program. So I was of the view that we shouldn't leave behind Uganda Registration Services Bureau in this program.
Thank you so much. And lastly, but not least.
Thank you very much. I wanted to interest you in children's right to play. When you look at sports, wherever you look in Kampala, children have nowhere to play from. And that, of course, speaks to mental health, depression, high crime rates, and maybe a future that is unruly. So if we also use the mayor's parks, the children's parks, as you speak about industrial parks, also factor in that if you create estates and these particular people don't have where to play from. And yet sports is one of those avenues where you can generate a lot of money. Even you accredit schools that just have flats and do not have places where children can play from. That said, I wanted to also speak to the partnerships, information sharing. Why would taxpayers be very afraid of giving information? And yet you would create platforms that would bring them together. Look at a scenario of an awarding system. URA, I think, gives annual awards to the best taxpayers. I think that can also be replicated at the lower. And also say if you had an annual engagement or party or sorts with your taxpayers within your jurisdiction. I would imagine that can create confidence, build trust, and there, of course, you will. So if you also created those kind of like chambers of commerce, maybe the golfing clubs, and you have a mechanism where you have them come up. Believe you me, they'll give you all the information you need and even better avenues of how best you can collect revenue. So coordination is very key. Lastly, civil society needs to also be brought at the table. I know for a fact that civil society, every other time we come to local governments, we need to have you participate in our meetings, give legitimacy to our meetings, or even that we know that we are actually working with you. So if we had memorandums of understanding,
feel free to just take on what you think closely relates to you, and we want to begin with questions about the project.
Thank you very much. One, it was on the one who was seconding or concur with the proposal of the exchange learning, which is going to be at least in one way or the other considered. For Miss Eriot, it was on the project capacity and 5 town councils. If you look at the brochure, please, you will see the municipal councils and town councils. And then we are going to work with the Ministry of Town Councils. And then we are going to work with the Ministry of Finance, looking at some, at least, primarily tax policy. In terms of non-disclosure, I concur with your submission, but I think we need also to see how can we be able to entice the taxpayers, because we have failed to support taxpayers in forming property owners association. Also, we have failed to ensure that hotel owners associations are in place and recognized so that they can set their priorities. And this answers what Marie was talking about of a fiscal social compact. We want to see that even these associations are established and they can set the priorities that should be considered in the budget process so that they can own it. You can find it difficult for you to say, we didn't get this one. Did you request for it in the budget process? Or you anticipate that the government is going to do it for you without asking for that particular service in your own jurisdiction. But you're saying, but you didn't give us this. Did you request for it? Did you participate in the budget processes at local government level? In your subsequent lower local government. So in this project, we want to have that fiscal social compact with selected stakeholders to be able to highlight their priorities and to ensure that we follow up with them to see that they are considered or included in the budget processes so that they can be able to say, we demanded for this, we demanded for the street lights, we didn't see them. We want, they call it infrastructure from this area so that our customers can be able to move from where they are coming to our areas or to our businesses. So the priorities are going to be set with the stakeholder or the taxpayers and the duty payers and agreed upon
so that they can put them into consideration in the budget process or in the planning process, for them to be able to engage when it comes to issues for consideration in the budget process. And that also goes hand in hand with the issue of looking at how can we have a mixed or joint, beyond joint, but mixed stakeholder engagement, so that they can be able to have engagement when it comes to setting priority, engaging their duty bearers, ensure transparency and accountability by ensuring that they do participate in the budget process, but also even setting their priorities. When it comes to the last one, which was highlighted by Ms. Kayon, I think, and I've been, when I engage Mr. Enyenje, when it comes to the TREP and the aspect of collaboration between Uganda Revenue Authority and local urban authorities, there was a time when URA said that no one is going to get a trading license within Kampala without declaring their taxes. And let me tell you, it worked. It worked. I don't know where it ended. Let us start from what we can manage or administer, and say that, okay, for the people who are doing business in Kampala, even if you are not in corporate income tax, but you are in the presumptive tax, when it comes to the payment or securing a trading license, you're supposed to give us our share in terms of presumptive taxes. So to what extent would you love that person to be formal? To me, the informality also depends, and how you look at it also depends. So to me, I think when it comes to URSBR, Uganda Revenue Authority, the KCCA, but stroke urban authorities, I think there is something which they can do when it comes to formalizing, but also collecting some of the revenue they can collect. I submit.
Thank you so much. Let's hear from Mr.
We've tried to put in place some strong measures to fight and also deter corruption. Unfortunately, we've lost some of our staff because of that. And it's not good on our side, losing staff that you have trained for so many years and they've gained experience for so many years. It takes time to really train a tax administrator. But I want to say this, that URA also operates in an ecosystem where corruption thrives. We may not have a lot to do when it comes to the environment that we are working in, but I think moving forward, we need to find a way of how we can work together. This is a situation or a problem that requires all government anything regarding corruption. Yes, we thought that dismissing, terminating staff could deter, but we are seeing that that is something that we are overrating. So we need to do more, and we need to work with the ecosystem to make sure that we have corruption. The issue of the fiscal is something that is very critical, because our taxpayers want to know how we are using the revenue that we are collecting. But as URA, we may not do a lot about it. But fortunately, we have a member of parliament here who can give us more information, and and we see how we can make it better. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to thank Richard for proposing that we can use the power of council to ensure that we benefit from the realities that is raised through the mining activities within our Karamoja in particular. But I want to say that currently the explorations that are taking place in the mining sector, especially in Karamoja, currently none of it has taken place within our administrative boundaries as a municipal council. So I think that's where we miss. But I know that collection of royalties is done through Ministry of Minerals, and there is a certain department in charge of geology that is currently established in Karamoja, It is within the municipal council, and it's the one that helps government to recover this money from the different owners of the licenses, the mining licenses. But we will gladly take that guidance. I want to also throw my voice onto the issue of corruption and say corruption, especially in the local revenue administration management, is something that is propagated to tempt the staff into this kind of corruption. However, as council, we're taking advantage of a very active rewards and sanctions framework that is currently in place. And whenever maybe a staff who is involved in the administration of revenue is got to be involved in corruption, they are sanctioned. We also we intend to establish an alternate committee that goes to vet and check the work of the first committee. You know, during the revenue collection process, there is a team that goes to do assessment. There is an assessment team, and there is a collection is done. After that, we want to establish a team that will be going to check whether whatever was assessed is collected, and if there is any need to come, then definitely we'll be able to do that. And also identify if there are any issues of corruption within the process of the collection of revenue, we'll be able to address. I also want to thank my colleague, the Principal Commercial Officer, for putting his comments. I think that as a project, it is important that we capture the support of this project in our budgets, since we're in the budgeting cycle, so that we capture it in our budgets as of budget support, because you're going to do a number of capacity building, a number of interventions in our local governments. So it is very important that we capture it in our budgets for the coming financial year. The idea of recognizing taxpayers is a very good initiative. Last financial year, we wrote certificates of recognition, especially to a number of taxpayers. One of them was, there was an NGO called Weltanga that supported us in many ways and paid its local service tax. So as council, we issued them with a certificate of appreciation. So I think it's a culture that need to take up very seriously, and we take that recommendation with a very good heart. The idea of developing a list of CSOs, yes. As Moroto Municipal Council, we have a list of all the partners who are working in Moroto Municipal Council, and a list of the areas, the thematic areas that they're involved in. And sometimes when we have our quarterly coordination meetings, we extend invitations to them to attend even our budget conferences and a number of those accountability forums. The issue of the social contract. I think that the intentions of the community, if you look at the existing laws, the citizens of this country are represented through the elected leaders, but also even the business community, especially in Moroto, most times is represented through the MDF, who works very closely with council.
A project for planning to plan cities and urban councils. So as the pre-entry, we went to Ethiopia, Mekelle, to see how they do it. And it was shown that there is always need for space, free space for a child to play, for a woman who doesn't work to go and sit with a baby at 10, maybe between 10 and 11, whenever time she's willing to go. For the ones who would call idle people, but it is not idle. When you go to a space and there is no one talk to you, still meditate in that fresh air. So with the urban, as UAAU, we have to contribute to this planning by planning about 10 town councils, so that it's an output of UAAU as an authority. So, and in these kind of plans, we have to incorporate all these health areas, play spaces, children play spaces, and I would encourage those with maybe estates. If you have an estate, leave about a quarter of a playground for the tenants to relax when they have nothing to do or when they are tired of their apartments. And this is just a general thing on planning. And on tax awarding, for us, it's already in our work plan that our component is all cities, town councils, municipalities, and all their divisions. We normally have regional meetings, which are going on now. We are just from Kitugum for the northern and West Nile region. And in these regions, it's where we can reward best performers in whatever area we want. Good taxpayers, good waste management, town councils into our work plan, so that in the next AGA, these are the areas we should award, so that they are the competition areas. So as a software of handling taxes, we shall put awarding of best tax-paying councils into our program. I beg to submit.
Thank you very much. Philip?
Thank you very much. Let me add my voice to my colleagues, especially on issues of corruption and embezzlement. It is true that some of the revenues collected are used at source. Some of the revenue collectors are not trusted to some extent that the money collected, for example, when we use the IRA system, they collect cash money. Other than using the IRA system, they put it in their pocket. And this has reached our desk. So at one point, we are not ruling out that fact that there is some corruption and embezzlement on local revenue collection. Then the other is non-disclosure of local revenue, as someone has identified. It is true. If you get to some shops, somebody has more than 5 activities in the DC. I said, for purposes of ensuring that these people register their clients, let's put it as a security measure that if you don't register your clients for purposes of security, we need your register of your clients full. So behind me was to ensure these people register all their clients. By the end of the day, when we go, we'll be able to realize these people slept in such a hotel. So you can see some of this, and these are human beings. Then the other is on policy issues. Gentlemen, much as we do benchmarking with our political leaders, the level of understanding, the level of their literacy is still demanding. You can take them for an exposure, but do they understand what they are doing? Especially in our setting, where the literary rate is demanding. This is an area of focus while we are trying to venture into areas to improve our local revenue. But the people, they have empowered the laws at our level. Their level of understanding to some extent is demanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, dear panelists, for taking on the questions and responding to them. I'm going to ask you to stand up a little bit. We need to take a picture, but I'm going to invite the following people to actually come forward and join this particular picture. Honorable Michael Kakembo, MP Entebbe Municipality, kindly if you can come forward. I'm going to request Ms. Jen Nalunga, ED SEATINI Uganda, to also step forward. And Mr. Kimboa Emmanuel, Assistant Commissioner, if you can also step forward. Then one more, we are going to have Mr. Peter Michael Oumo from the Embassy of Ireland in Uganda to also step forward for this group photograph with the panelists. Please do step closer. All right, thank you so much. A round of applause for the panelists as they go back to resume their seats. We are now moving in that critical stage. That's the launch of this particular project. And I would like to invite my colleague, Herbert Kafero. Are you around, Herbert? Herbert Kafero? All right, I think he has stepped outside a bit, but let's wait for him to come in so that he can provide more guidance on what is going to happen in the next phase, because it's the critical stage of actually launching this very important project. We have heard so much about this project and how it's going to help us to actually promote revenue mobilization. We know the importance of this, given the fact that as a country, we need actually to be self-reliant to collect money that should be able to finance the different projects, different service delivery points that are as demanded for by the population. But critical also, you've heard that there is what they call the social contract. If you want people to pay taxes, are you using their taxes properly? Sometimes when you ask Uganda Revenue Authority such questions, they will tell you those questions should be answered from another person, and you will hear them pointing fingers to Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance will tell you it's not only our role, this is an issue that needs even to go to Parliament. So there are so many stakeholders involved, but at the end of the day, the taxpayer actually needs to see the services delivered. And it reminds me of that famous quote that if you want more milk from the cow, you need to actually feed the cow, because you cannot squeeze milk out of a stone. So there's need to actually promote accountability for the taxpayer, to the taxpayer, so that they can be able to do what? To be encouraged to pay more taxes. We are going to hear from main speaker during this launch, and at this point, let me invite the Honorable Michael Kakembo from Entebbe Municipality. He's also a member of the Parliamentary Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development, to come forward and give us his remarks. Let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Thank you, Bwana Moderator, or the Master of Ceremony. I will stand on the protocol, as was being observed, I think, a few hours ago. My name is Salongo Kakembo Mikaili Mbwa Tekamwa, Member of Parliament for Entebbe Municipality. I will begin by registering my apology for coming in not on time. Today, plenary began at 10. And within our rules, when the presiding officer commands that any other activity can take place in Parliament when there is a plenary. So many of our colleagues are tied up in the business of Parliament. I have misbehaved, however, to come and attend this very important engagement. I want you to accept my apology. I'm here basically on behalf of Parliament to appreciate SEATINI Uganda and the island government, together with other development partners, civil society, for coming up with this very, very good project. It's indeed timely. Uganda, you have serious issues. I will not this time apportion blame or pointing fingers to anybody, not even Uganda Revenue Authority. But I will just commit myself as a member of Parliament. Parliament is committed to legislation. What I request the team to help us do is to, one, build the capacity, which you are doing. We want to appreciate that. And also identify gaps in the legal regime that we have in place. I would be proud to say that members of Parliament, we do our job. We legislate quite a number of bills. Even yesterday, we were passing a bill on VAT and income tax. But we've been having challenges with the implementing partners. The issues raised here basically are administrative. The laws we have in place are not very bad. But I don't know whether SEATINI is going to help us build the capacity, educate, and change the mindset of those people who are supposed to implement the law and do the right thing. Uganda is a very rich country. We have a potential of raising domestically, as we see, because most of the donors, international donors, are restructuring their donation to Uganda. So it's high time we think of domestic revenue correction, improve it, and we can sustain ourselves. And I know we can, because Uganda is a very rich country. But the issue is about who is to collect this money and where does it take that money? Who is to pay? I want to appreciate the panelists here. They pointed out quite serious issues when it came to attitude. Who will affect the taxpayer to pay? Who will motivate the taxpayer to pay his money? Of course, service delivery. Then we look at ourselves. People who are supposed to service deliver. Have we delivered? Not only members of parliament, including the president. We have challenges in the priority scale of our president. As a member of parliament, for us, our work is to appropriate the money you correct. Mr. Revenue Authority. We do the appropriation and the Minister Kassanda will tell you, yes, I don't have the money. The budget, we are in the budget making process. And you know where it comes from. It comes from you, not the executive, the ministry, the technical staff, you draft it. Parliament, basically we discuss the ministerial policy statements and of course make a few adjustments, not very big one, because if we do, I mean, the president may not even sign that the budget. Remember what happened in this year, 2024, 2025. The budget was returned because the parliament went ahead and put in the budget against the president's priorities. So those are serious issues that as civil society and development partners, we can engage all stakeholders, executive, the president, the members of parliament, and the administrators of the tax base. That is the local government. So we want to appreciate SEATINI. The project is timely. I want to commit our social support to you. The budget process is here. Put the money in the budget to do the job. We shall put the money there because we know the repercussions. When the money is there and you do your job well, change the mindset of our team, the implementing partners. Corruption has been mentioned here, and it's very big. You know, discrimination. Uganda loses over 13 trillion in corruption, over 9 trillion in tax exemption. Who exempts for what? You know, those are serious issues we need to look at. Yes, exempting somebody is not bad, but the way we are doing it, me, I don't think it is really right. I was in Kassanda some time back with a colleague here from Karamoja. We are talking about the same thing. You are taxing mobile money, whatever. You are taxing telecommunication company on data, on whatever. But you're leaving out somebody who is getting gold from Kassanda. Those people don't pay tax. And now the taxpayer will feel like, now, look at me, who is paying all this money? When somebody who is getting gold, a ton almost of gold from Kassanda is not paying anything. The same happened because somebody was complaining here, Karamoja. There are some people are getting some good money from there. They don't pay anything. Discrimination from Uganda Revenue Authority, I don't want to point the fingers, but there are some big people, serious business investors in Uganda who don't pay tax. They don't. The so-called foreign investors who come to Uganda here, when you find what they are doing in Uganda, it is laughable. I've seen them even in the villages, you know, distributing it, selling retails, you know. And me, I thought those foreign investors, when they come here, they should restrict themselves to production. If they have an industry, let them do the job. Let them leave this small work to Ugandans. But you find the Indians doing the same, the Chinese doing the same. Those are issues of administration, the administrative. So we need to wake up to this reality, all of us, stakeholders. This is Uganda. Let us love our country and wake up to this reality and do the right thing. When it comes to taxation, let us, all of us, pay the tax. You know, it is embarrassing to find a big businessman not paying tax, And when you are chasing somebody in Nakasero market to pay the tax and confiscating his merchandise, very small investor. I mean, Ugandan, when some big people they are walking scot-free on the street, that one demotivates Ugandans to pay. Then the issues of service delivery, people must see where their money in hospitals. Do you have the drugs, the medicine? Is it there? Do we have good roads? Government should do the job, and then taxpayers also may do the job. I want to thank SEATINI as I conclude this SEATINI, that we are very hopeful on behalf of Parliament that you are going to help us change the mindset of our implementing partners, the local government, town clerks, the cows, and probably the executive. How do we motivate our people to collect revenue? How are we going to mitigate corruption, tendencies amongst our implementing partners? How are we going to bridge those gaps to close the loopholes here and there? As Parliament, we are committed. We shall appropriate money because that's within our mandate to appropriate money for you to do the job. In the legislation, I would request you to identify those gaps. We shall come up with bills. I can even have a private member's bill so that we can tackle the legal regime that can facilitate you to do the job. Whenever there are gaps, as members of Parliament, we are committed 100% to that. I want to submit. Thank you so much for listening to me. For God and my country, may God bless you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kakembo, for those insightful thoughts and sharing the commitment from Parliament. And indeed, we do appreciate SEATINI Uganda for launching, for preparing and this project. And now we are moving into that phase where we are actually going to launch it. So we'd like to invite people who are going to do the launching to actually step forward near that right. Ms. Jen Nalunga, Executive Director, SEATINI Uganda, kindly, if you can lead the other officials who are going to take part in this launch. Mr. Michael Omo from the Island Embassy in Uganda. Let's have the representatives from the town councils to also come forward, and the municipalities. Please do join the team here. Honorable Kakembo, please do come forward. Representative from the Ministry of Local Government, and the other key government departments that are represented here. Uganda Revenue Authority, please step forward. And the representatives from the districts also please do step forward. The launch is going to be by appending signatures. Town councils and municipalities, please. Representative from IMF. All right, we'll have Honorable Kakembo taking the lead by signing onto, we'll have the representative from the Embassy of Ireland also signing on the flip. Anti bajja kujja naye kati wakyali kulwalira. When this team of dignitaries completes, we shall also have members from the audience to actually come and append their signatures as a sign of commitment, but also as a reminder that they were here as the launch was taking place. All right, feel free to step forward to come and sign on the placard.
In an era of declining global aid and mounting external debt, the key to sustainable development lies within our own borders. The future of public service delivery and national progress depends not only on external support, but on what is fairly and equitably raised through domestic resources. For millions across the country, taxation is more than a financial obligation. It is a vital investment in the much-needed social services such as health, education, infrastructure, among others. With support from the Embassy of Ireland, SEATINI Uganda is implementing the STRIDE project, sustaining tax and revenue improvements for development. STRIDE champions tax justice, accountability, and inclusive revenue systems.
SEATINI is implementing a project called STRIDE.
Please do step forward to sign on the placard.
Revenue improvements.
In the meantime, we would also like to invite you to come forward for a final group picture behind the placard. If we can do that very quickly so that we can hear from the Secretariat with the administrative announcements before we officially close this meeting. I'm sure there are so many people who are still seated who have not signed, but also we need to take a picture. Please do come forward. All right, let me invite everyone now to come forward for the group photograph, the final group photograph. Let's do this very quickly. We are running out of time. Stand on the stairs. Kindly. There's still space at the back. If you know you are gifted by nature and you're a little bit taller, you can step to the back side. The camera persons, please, your guidance. If you're done, you let us know. May I also invite the person from the Secretariat at SEATINI to come on the podium because you're going to make the administrative announcements. Wendy. Aloysius, Mr. Aloysius Kitengo, if you can step forward.